Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you find this show in great spirits. Seriously, more than ever before, I mean this. Another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. There's a lot of chaos going on out here in this country and in this world. There is so much going on. It's really insane. I'm going to try my best to do as much coverage of all of the stuff that's going on, especially the things that happened last night. And then some. It's absolutely crazy. Like I said, it has been absolutely wild. There was a press conference with the mayor, a new one that just happened about, well, looks like about 30 minutes ago. So we got to take a look at that as well. Okay, before we get into everything, because clearly Minneapolis was on fire last night, and I'm sure it's going to be even more insane tonight as well. So please do me a favor. Before we get into everything, hit that like button down below, crush the do, hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. Make sure if you are watching on those other platforms, like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them. So make sure you are following, subbing, whatever on those platforms, okay? Especially on Twitch. Got some subscriptions over there. So if you are on Twitch, you want to support the channel and appreciate the stuff that's going on over there, please make sure you are checking out those tiers over there. Of course, don't forget to subscribe here on my main channel, The Pascal Show, right here on YouTube. Subscribe over here. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips, and my third channel, Pascal Raw. Subscribe to all these channels. Hit the notification bell on all these platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. All right, so make sure you're subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon if you want to support even further, which I've seen some of you guys hopping over to my Patreon. I really do appreciate it. More to come. It'll all make sense very soon. It's just been a little nutty over here on this side of the world. So make sure you're following and supporting over there on Patreon if you can. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Go check it out, okay? Anyway, we have got to get into some things. Like a lot of stuff is going on, like I said before. And honestly, hold on. The world is crashing out right now, guys. You got protests going on in Portland. You got protests going on in basically every city you can think of with this whole anti-ICE situation, especially with what happened to Renee Nicole Good. Now, if you don't know what happened with Renee Nicole Good, then you've been sleeping under a rock. But what happened to her is definitely causing quite a visceral reaction throughout the U.S. streets, throughout these domestic streets. It has been insane out here. Minneapolis was on fire last night. There were massive vandalisms and break-ins, and it was just absolutely crazy, which I keep on saying, guys, please don't do that. Please go out there, march, protest, represent, do what you need to do. But the last thing you need to do is be spray painting, breaking windows, and causing chaos. You want to know why? Because this is what the administration wants. So they can incite Insurrection Act. They can incite the National Guard. You already got Governor Walz basically saying, hey, man, everybody chill out or I'm releasing the hounds. He's already said that before. He's already given fair warning on that, guys. And I really don't think people are starting to listen or listening. And I hope that they start to listen. Just saying, I get it. You know, the whole F-ICE thing, I get the whole thing. I get it. But we need to find a different way to get our point across. Because while windows are being shattered, while there's vandalism going on, while they're, burning flags and burning things in the middle of the streets and stuff like that, this is only giving the administration more incentive to do bad things. But it's weird because there's a lot of opposite day going on here. Because across the world, in a whole other country, Iran is having some serious problems as well. It has been 10 days plus of nonstop protests. Dozens of people have lost their lives while protesting. And of course, people are feeling some type of way about that. Now, Iran is most definitely, literally on freaking fire. But what's strange about that, and I just want to tap in on this for a second, and I might circle back on Iran near the end of this show, because mainly I want you guys to see what's going on here right now with this new protests that are going on, okay, here in America, especially in Minneapolis, because that's obviously very, very brand new. Iran, it's been going on for 10 plus days. But yes, dozens of people have lost their lives. There's been absolute chaos, and that place is literally on fire. They've shut down they've shut down the internet. They've shut down communication for civilians, and that has not changed anything. People are out there, and they are coming together, very angry about how things are going in their country because of how the economy is. They don't like the administration or the government and how it's set up right now. They want a complete regime change in Iran. But what's very strange about this is what I wanted to talk about. This is the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on here in America that's happening over there in Iran. Iran has been on this well in advance, like a few days before America has been doing their anti-ICE protest out here. All right. And I'm talking about as of the last few days. Like Renee lost her life a few days ago. Before that, Iran was already in protest. Do you get what I'm saying? So let me just say this. Iran is already asking for President Trump's help. They are already sitting here going, hey, what you did in Venezuela, come on over here to Iran and save us. Force a full-on regime change here in Iran. Now, Trump loves that, of course, right? Let's be real. Trump loves that. He's eating it up. You know what I mean? Nummy, nummy. Because he loves that kind of thing. Let's be real. We all know that. He has an ego. He's got a big ego. You know what I mean? And he loves that. But what's very strange to me is this. He has actually turned to the people, to the leaders of Iran, and has said this. Hey, you hurt any of these protesters? There'll be hell to pay. Which kind of makes no sense, because you got protesters here in America that are actually getting hurt. A protester actually lost their life because of lethal force. Whether you look at it, however you look at it, no matter what, the fact is, boil it all the way down. Doesn't matter if it's FAFO. FAFO, brother. Doesn't matter if it's that or if it's unjustified. Down, if you boil it all the way down to its bone, ICE agent took the life of a protester. That is true. That is real. And there are other people that are getting hurt out here in these streets for protesting. Some of these people are protesting peacefully, but they're also getting in some serious trouble. So you got protesters in America that are not being protected. I'm talking about the innocent ones. I'm not talking about the ones that are just vandalizing and, going crazy. I'm talking about the ones that are just using their freedom of speech. Then you got things that are going on in Iran, and Trump's like, we're gonna nuke every single last one of this entire country if you keep on mishandling these protesters. Doesn't that seem a little bit weird? Doesn't that seem a little bit opposite day? Over there, he's like, don't you dare touch those protesters. But over here, he's like, go ahead and touch those protesters. That makes no sense to me, guys. He even says, hey, if a protester spits in an ICE agent's face, they have the right to hit back harder. If they slap you, you can punch hard, right? That doesn't make any sense, right? Does that make sense to you? Last I checked, it doesn't make sense. Because like I said, if these protesters are out here going, Trump, save us, here in America, maybe he'd be like, yeah, we need to get the troops back, pull them back. You know what I'm saying? Just seems a little bit odd to me, don't you think? Because you got the people of Iran going, please help us. Trump, do what you did in Venezuela over here. Please. Please. Right? So he's like, oh, well, Iran, if you touch a single hair on any of those protesters' heads anymore, there will be hell to pay. Everything will be completely obliterated, right? But here, when we got all this crap going on, all this tragedy and people mad, it is she's a domestic terrorist. What she did was bad. She ran over the dude. He went to the hospital. Thank God he's still alive. And also they augment the amount of troops, ICE agents in that city. They didn't say, oh, maybe we should back off a little bit. Maybe we just cool it down a little bit. You know what I mean? No. He ramps it all the way up to 11 and rips the knob off. Explain that. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying here? Iran, the protests in Iran are real. And it's crazy. But then you got things that are going on here in America that really need a good seeing to. There really is a need for some sort of focus here and care because the people are mad. And it's a very large group of people that are mad. And now these protests are popping off in various areas right now. Okay? You see what I'm saying? There should be focus on what's going on here. And there should be a thing of pulling in the likes of Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem being like, okay, I need you to sit down. You need to pull these guys back and make sure these guys are all properly vetted. There needs to be a better process of making sure that the people that are working for us are actually properly vetted and good for the job. Not just picking any guy who used to be a Paul Blart mall cop and just giving him a badge and saying, your ass. Okay? But again, I'm just me, right? I'm just me. I have my opinions. I'm just seeing it from the nosebleed seats. And I'm sitting here with my popcorn, that's already stale because I've been sitting in this nosebleed seat eating this same carton of popcorn for a long time now. And I'm going, okay, I see the hypocrisy because that's wild. Iran, he gives a damn about, but he don't give on people. That's weird. That's a little odd. And then, of course, like I said, he's too busy looking at, he's going to do land strikes on Mexico here soon. That's at least what he's saying. We are all still talking about Cuba or Cuba. And then he's still now, as of just yesterday, he said, we're going to take Greenland, whether they like it or not. Huh? You're going to take Greenland, whether they like it or not. Huh? We're in a whirlwind of trouble, y'all. But Iran, those protesters, they need protection. But those that are here in America that are exercising peacefully, let me make that abundantly clear, that are peacefully exercising their First Amendment right, oh, they're nothing. Arrest them all. In fact, ICE, start shooting footage of all the arrests so we can make viral content on the TikToks and the Instagrams. That's also a real thing too. Pull out all your cameras, guys. Every arrest, every detainee, every moment that you detain or arrest somebody, please film it so we could put it all on our social medias so we can go viral. That's also a real thing too. Y'all, I'm just calling balls and strikes. Okay? I'm just calling balls and strikes. How I see it. Now, I know a lot of people out there will feel like, FAFO. F around and find out. And yes, I do believe that the people that are illegal, especially the violent ones, yes, they need to be taken in. And there should be a process for that. But everybody and their mama pulling people over in the street randomly, person who's just a hardworking person that just wants to make it in this world, brought their family over here for a better life. I don't see anything doing them doing any wrong. But the violent criminals, take them. Tren de Aragua, take them all. But those that are out here that are just trying to live their life, maybe still waiting for their process papers, the process to be done to become legal citizens or legal immigrants here in America. Let them go through the process. Make sure that process is taken care of. Ripping them from their homes and from their families, I think is messed up. So again, like I said, you look at what's going on over here in America, and then you look at what's going on in Iran, and you go, well, okay, they're upset. Iran is upset. The Iranian people, are upset about how the government's running things and how their economy is deplorable. They're in bad shape. So the people, there will be unrest within the people. And those people are out there speaking about it, saying we are tired of it and we're not going to take it anymore, right? We got stuff over here in America. ICE is really ruffling a lot of feathers. What happened to Renee Nicole Good is a tragedy. And all things revolving that situation, in my personal opinion, Renee Nicole Good should still be alive. Doesn't matter who made the mistake or not. A gun was pulled out and a trigger was pulled. Thrice, my lovelies. Thrice. That's a problem. Of course, there's going to be upheaval and an uprising in the streets. But over there, he says, I got you, protesters. Rage on. Here, not so much. Strange observation, but it is true. Now, here's the thing. Just a little bit ago, like I said, I was going to show this to you guys because we need to see this as well. Okay? Yeah, Jessica, I agree. What happened to Good is not good. It's no bueno, cabrón, no bueno. It's not good, y'all, guys, okay? It's not good. However way you look at it, still bad and tragic. But the mayor did another press conference just a little bit ago, and I'm telling you right now, tonight is probably going to be even more insane. And if depending on the rest of my day, I may be covering it as well. Okay. Unfortunately, I was not able to cover it last night. But I saw a lot, and a lot of it was insane. And I feel like the craziness is only going to expand. It's only going to get bigger tonight. And I'm going to say this before we hear what the mayor has to say, because I'm sure he's going to say a few choice words. I'm sure he has some choice words to say here. But I want to make this abundantly clear before we get into this. For those of y'all who are watching that are going to go out and protest, please just protest peacefully. Please be safe out there because the streets are going to be crazy. Last night, what I saw was wild. They're breaking into hotels and vandalizing hotels, thinking that ICE was staying at these specific hotels. Like I said, it's pretty bad. And tonight, I feel like they're only going to have more boots on the ground. Okay, more of officers and agents out there in the streets, and I think that it's only going to get more volatile. So all I ask is for everyone to be safe out there. If you are going to protest peacefully, please and thank you. You can be mad all you want. Use your words. You can use words. You can use your words. You're allowed to do that. But as soon as you put your hands on somebody, or if you start to vandalize something, you are going to get in serious trouble if you get caught, of course. So again, please be safe out there. So let's take a look at this. This is from the mayor just a little bit ago, literally just right before we went live. So let's take a listen to what he has to say about all this.
The snow. Everybody? We're good? Everybody good?
Yeah, thanks for checking.
Well, good morning, everyone. We wanted to come out here and provide a situational update and make sure everybody understand both what happened in the last couple nights and also where we're going here moving forward. I wanted to acknowledge how inspired I am by so many community members that have stepped up. They've been providing food to people that have immigrated to Minneapolis. They've made sure that those that are terrified right now of the actions by ICE have support, have love, have care, are able to get to the grocery store, even childcare. The way that they have stepped up is amazing. I also want to acknowledge that the vast majority of people have protested peacefully, recognizing that I have seen community members sort of step into the breach, recognizing that there are others out there, agitators that are trying to rile up large crowds. And not only have they not taken the bait, they have pushed others back from the brink to say, hey, you know what? This is what Donald Trump wants. He wants us to take the bait. He wants those agitators to get a hold of this crowd in a way that it makes them cause harm to others and or damage to property. And so to them, I want to say my deepest thanks. We are so grateful for everything that you've been doing. And to our first responders, to our police officers, Chief O'Hara, to our firefighters, Chief Rucker, they have been working tirelessly. They have canceled all days off. They've made sure that they are out here protecting people, keeping them safe, and showing a true juxtaposition between the kind of public safety and service that we provide to our residents here at the city of Minneapolis versus what ICE is doing. And so, again, I am inspired by so many community members that have kept the peace and that are making very clear the message: we cannot take the bait. And to the few that have caused damage to property and or harm to others, need to be very clear, we're not going to let that happen. If you cause damage to property or put others in dangers, you're going to be arrested. And again, the vast majority of people have done this right. We are so deeply appreciative of them. But we have seen a few incidents last night. Those incidents are being reviewed. There were approximately 29 arrests that were made that Chief O'Hara will provide an update on. But we wanted to, again, give sort of the overarching theme of what we're seeing, which is peaceful protest. And we wanted to say when that doesn't happen, of course, there are consequences. We are a safe city. We will not counter Donald Trump's chaos with our own brand of chaos here. We in Minneapolis are going to do this right. Chief O'Hara is going to now provide an update. Thank you, Chief, for all your work.
Good morning. My name is Brian O'Hara, BRIAN, O''HARA. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. Minneapolis Police Department has been monitoring a number of marches and protests and other First Amendment activities over the course of the week. All of those protests and marches have remained peaceful until last night. Last night at about 7 p.m., there was a gathering outside the Canopy Hotel in downtown Minneapolis. That gathering began as all the other gatherings around hotels had been conducted over the last several days, largely peaceful, mainly a noise protest that was occurring, trying to disrupt the activities at the hotel. Unfortunately, that changed last night. Individuals at the Canopy then began marching on Washington Avenue towards the Depot and the Renaissance Hotel. While they were there, some individuals broke off from that group, and in the rear, they caused some damage to that hotel, damage to some of the windows and some graffiti damage. They then returned to the Canopy Hotel, where the Minneapolis Police Department responded with well over 200 police officers, Minnesota State Troopers, and Minnesota DNR police officers. We initiated a plan and took our time to de-escalate the situation, issued multiple warnings declaring an unlawful assembly, and ultimately then began to move in and disperse the crowd. It was well over 1,000 individuals, we believe, that were assembled there. And as those individuals broke off from the crowd, we had some other marches that then continued downtown. Ultimately, by 1 a.m., all of these individuals were either dispersed or placed under arrest. There were 29 arrests last night. We are aware of one police officer
There goes
that
the
was
sign.
injured from a chunk of ice that was thrown at them. Other than that, we are not aware of any other injuries. I just want to say I'm incredibly proud of the police officers in this town and the state law enforcement officers and all the other police that have been here with us through this. What you saw last night was a disciplined and restrained response. I think it was highly professional. And I'm thankful for the members of the community who understand our need to keep things peaceful. And I'm thankful for those officials and others that are continuing to call for peaceful protest and assembly.
Now, one thing is that is very interesting. That is what he said. Okay. Like straight up was he just said it was a restrained and disciplined. I forgot the rest of the phrase, but it was restrained and a disciplined reaction from law enforcement. But that's also because, like, I feel like, yes, there was vandalism. Yes, there was craziness that happened last night, for sure. There was upheaval, but it wasn't the whole thing. Not everybody that was out here running around was doing something bad. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, there were people just out there protesting. But then, yes, you have some bad actors out there for sure. And that is frustrating because it does overshadow everybody else that's out there. You see vandalism, you see graffiti, you see etc. You see people breaking into hotels and hotel buildings, and it unfortunately it automatically gets kind of plastered on everything else, right? But there was a lot of peaceful protesting out there that were just out there saying what they wanted to, chanting, saying what they wanted to say and all that. You know what's crazy is that somebody just said something, I saw it in the corner of my eye, saying the bad actors are paid. Maybe they are. I don't know. The bad actors. I don't know. But one thing is for sure, this also reminds me of the movie One Battle at a Time. Now, I know some of you guys will be like, there's some leftist propaganda bullshit. But here's the thing. I highly recommend you guys go and watch that movie. There's just a part in that movie that I think is very interesting. There's a protest that's going on in the streets, and Leonardo DiCaprio's character is like on his way trying to escape, 5-0, while he's trying to get to his. Well, I don't want to ruin the movie for you guys, but there's a part in the movie where there's obviously police on one side and of course protesters of some kind on the other side. And suddenly a cop, like these guys are police officers, they pull up in a car and they're all masked up. And one guy comes out and he just lights, like I think it was like a Molotov cocktail or something like that. He lights it and then he just throws it. And it just goes up in flames, right? Like they said something along the lines of like, bring the guy out. Like, going into phase 5 or whatever the hell they said, right? And this guy who happened to be a cop, who happened to be on the side of the police, said, okay, well, we need to get this thing going. Like, we need to get these people arrested. Let's just rev this thing up by like throwing a Molotov cocktail, right? And so he throws the Molotov cocktail, and then all hell breaks loose, right? And then other people get arrested. I just think it's an interesting piece. As much as they say, like, oh yeah, you know, the protesters are getting paid. Well, what about the other side? You see what I'm saying? There's plenty of people that are running around wearing masks, burning flags and stuff. And you wonder, what is their agenda? Are they really there to on the side of these protesters, or are they there to rev the engine up so that they can get people detained? I'm just asking the questions, but I just thought it was a very interesting perspective seen in this movie. And I'm telling you right now, I thought it was a good movie. Check it out if you want to. You don't have to. I just thought it was a very interesting piece. I was like, oh, damn, they really just showed that in that movie. Diggity damn. They really just did that. You know what I'm saying? But that's just, just thinking about everything on both sides of the fence, y'all. Okay. Not everything as it seems all the time, guys. All right. And some things are just rumors, but moving on.
Obviously, there's a number of additional marches and protests that we will be monitoring today, and we are fully prepared if things cross the line and become unlawful to make additional arrests if necessary. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll open it to questions. I'll go here and then here. Turn it over to Chief O'Hare for a little bit more of an update. The question is, what kind of immigration enforcement are we seeing in the city? I'll start by mentioning the immigration enforcement that is taking place is not limited to Minneapolis. It's in our entire region: St. Paul, St. Louis Park, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center. We're seeing in a number of different areas throughout Minnesota. And as far as I can tell, it's happening all times of the day. I'll let Chief O'Hare give a little bit more of an update. A lot of it is scattered. A lot of it is unplanned. This is part of the issue, is that this is not a coordinated strategic plan that we're seeing being carried out. In many cases, it's indiscriminate. I've said this before, but I think that the initial impetus to come to Minnesota was go to Minnesota, arrest and deport a bunch of Somali people. And then they get here and they realize that the Somali people that would be arrested or deported are all legal. They're American citizens. You can't do that. And so there's not like some meat packing plant or factory where you can go and get a bunch of Somalis. And then they turned their ire towards our Latino community and other immigrant communities that are here. Regardless, these are communities that make Minneapolis a better place. And so to have this kind of scattered buckshot approach that we're seeing that is not strategic in any way, not only endangers these community members that have been here for the long haul, it endangers these neighborhoods that they're rolling through. Minneapolis is on a great comeback, and they're just making it more difficult for that comeback to fully take shape. And so I'll turn it over to Chief O'Hara.
I'm sorry, what was the initial question?
So the question was, can you tell us what some of these immigration enforcement actions
the actions.
Like?
So the actions are widespread across all parts of the city, mainly focused on the south side and in some cases northeast part of Minneapolis. There are oftentimes what appear to be arrests made from vehicles, and we have had reports that come in of vehicles that are abandoned that we then have to respond to tow the vehicles. At least in one case, we had a report of a person taken from a vehicle that the vehicle was not even placed in park, and the car rolled, blocking the roadway, and we had to respond and tow it. Another instance, I remember there was a vehicle that was left in the roadway with a dog inside that we had to respond with animal control and take custody of the dog. So it's a number of actions that are occurring on the city streets, and they are happening all over the city.
Did you tell them about the one on 3rd Avenue? So just to give you another example of how reckless some of these actions are, maybe 12 blocks from here, 10 blocks from here, over on 3rd Avenue, there was an ICE action that took place. An individual from a car that was in the middle of a pretty significant street was detained. They left the car in the middle of the street. The car wasn't even in park, and so you've got this vehicle that is just rolling down the street with nobody in it. And it wasn't
Crazy.
a Waymo. This was a car that was rolling down the street that could have hit anybody, including my own family members that live not too far from there. And so
That's wild that people don't give a damn about their own cars in moments like this. They just jump out of the car and run and just let the car roll down the street. Like, what kind of planet are you on? You know what I mean? That's so weird.
this is not about safety, clearly. If this was about safety, you wouldn't do stupid things like that.
No doubt.
Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody has gotten killed. And so that's not the route as to how you do any of these exercises productively or safely. And so that's what we're saying. Yes.
Looking ahead tonight for night 5, ICE isn't leaving. DHS is sending more officers. How concerned are you about temper spraying, people getting tired, exhausted, and things turning on?
Yeah. I mean, concern, of course, is the name of the game. We are constantly monitoring what is taking place, not just the actions on the street, but also the energy of our police officers, our firefighters, our first responders that in many cases haven't gotten a whole lot of sleep. They're working really hard right now. So, I mean, I just think it's common sense that, you know, anybody, if you're tired or you're hungry or you're sick, or you're forced to make a split-second decision when you're tired or you're hungry or you're sick, you're more likely to make a mistake. We don't want mistakes being made. And so I'm so appreciative of their work. I'm really grateful for it. And again, I want to reiterate this. I am really grateful for so many community members. I saw this video, I think it was yesterday, where you had this agitator clearly from the far right that was coming in and trying to rile up the crowd. He was trying to make the crowd do something that they shouldn't be doing. He was trying to make the crowd take the bait so that they would give the authorization or at least an excuse for the Trump administration to come in even more. It was so awesome that not only was the crowd not taking the bait, they were basically blowing them off. They were grinning down the bear. And I think that is emblematic of what's happening in Minneapolis right now. We are grinning down the bear. We are meeting a whole lot of despair with a lot of hope. We are doing right. We are being strategic. And yes, for those that aren't being strategic, for those that are taking the bait and causing property damage or otherwise, there are consequences. We're holding the line here all the way.
Related to the shooting, I understand the officer, the ICE officer, was treated at a hospital. Could you elaborate a bit on the nature of that, any injuries, where he was treated, when he was treated, how is it medical care?
I think you're referencing the ICE agent, and I don't have any information on that. Do you? No, we don't know.
I'm just wondering, there are some people online who are frustrated that they thought Minneapolis Police Department left the scene of the protest last night. Of course, you guys came back and state police came as well. Can you describe to us the strategy behind when you're not present at those protests and when you decide to come in?
So this is a fine line that we have to walk, because unfortunately there's a whole lot of people that once we inject ourselves into a situation, then want to turn their frustration and their anger on us. So what we do is we act very strategically with restraint. We take our time to ensure that we have sound tactics, a good plan, and move in so that we can keep the safety of law enforcement as well as the safety of community in mind. What happened last night at one point was we still have everything else that happens in American cities happening. Our police officers had to respond to a 911 call that a woman who had an altered mental status had driven her car up onto a sidewalk and was blocking a parking access. So the police responded there and were dealing with that issue when they were unexpectedly and quite quickly surrounded by protesters at that march And as we have seen, it is our police officers that then become the object of people's frustration. So because there was a safety element there, we quickly responded in and got those officers out, and then immediately formed up well over 200 police officers with a sound plan, began videotaping the actions that were happening and making the announcements and taking our time and allowing people who were not involved in illegal activity to legally disperse. But once it became clear, I think it was around 10:15 that we declared that. Once it became clear that there were individuals that were not going to abide by our direction to leave, they were placed under arrest. So the question was, we have canceled all days off and recalled personnel to duty. So the level or percent of people who are responding to events around this, I would say is close to 100%. So we have officers, obviously, that are conducting their normal duties and responding to 911 calls, but then they're also being held over and they're being held on standby, if not being assigned to post up in locations. Last night, as obviously we were dealing with over 200 officers at the scene to execute the unlawful assembly and dispersal order. We were also posting other police officers around downtown to ensure that we did not have additional destruction. So it is quite literally almost 100% of every sworn member of the department.
Maybe 911 calls specifically about immigration enforcement. People saying I saw officers do X or Y.
The question was getting 911 calls specifically about immigration enforcement, and yes, there's just dozens and dozens every single day, ranging from anything from people seeing arrests happening, or they seeing surveillance, or they seeing individuals that they're not sure that are ICE, to the things that I mentioned, that there's cars that are now left abandoned because someone was detained.
We'll do one more.
She's been hand her hand up.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
What is the status of both of your offices' communication with DHS?
So the question was the status of communication with DHS. We have ongoing communication with all of federal law enforcement in Minnesota, and that's because we do have work that goes on and continues to go on, addressing gang violence, drug dealing, and serious street crime. So there is ongoing communication with our officers and federal agents literally every single day. It's just that there is not. There's a line. There's a separation between communication around those issues and communication around immigration enforcement. There is none.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh boy. So again, they just kind of gave us a heads up of what happened last night, and what, obviously we're going to be seeing a lot more stuff going on tomorrow too, or tonight, I'm sorry, too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see more chaos in the streets soon. Now, one other thing that is very interesting, I do want to share, and of course, I want to show a little bit of what happened last night too. But there is also stuff that's going on in real time right now as well. So we're going to be kind of hopping around quite a bit. But one thing I did talk to you guys about in a short last night that I do want to make abundantly clear and just kind of reiterate, they have cut off all federal funding to the state of Minnesota. Yeah, just all federal funding to the state of Minnesota. That's SNAP benefits, that's child care benefits, etc. All of it shut off to Minnesota. Now, I'm telling you guys this because I do feel like this is a foreshadowing of what could possibly come to other states and cities as well. So any person that's in the state of Minnesota that resides in Minneapolis, your SNAP benefits, your any funding that you're using for, I don't know, childcare, etc. Okay, the ones that actually do have actual daycares. All right, y'all are all getting squeezed off. All funding has been suspended. You have the likes of this Secretary Brooke Rollins saying this. All right, just so you guys can see it. I talked about this in a short, but let me just tell you guys, this is cutting off. This is not benefiting anybody. At the end of the day, yes, I get it. You know, you see a YouTube video from a guy who makes content, and then suddenly all hell breaks loose, and everyone wants to believe 110% that YouTuber in that video is 110% true. I don't believe it to be 110% true. I know. Boo, tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes to me. I know a lot of people are not going to believe me with what I'm saying here, but at the same time, anybody can post anything, edit it in a type of way to make it seem like something that it is not. I'm not sitting here saying that there aren't fraudsters. There most definitely are. But all Somalian people are fraudulent? I don't know. That is a very, very blanketed, very, very uneducated assessment. I think that's wrong and messed up. And now it is bled out, and it is affecting everybody in the state of Minnesota. Yes, the whole entire state of Minnesota is getting screwed. They're getting effed in the A because they believe that there are fraudsters out there. Now, let me make this abundantly clear. There are fraudsters everywhere, okay? There are fraudsters everywhere. Everybody out there. There are a lot of people out here that if they find an opportunity to scoop up some money, they're gonna find a way to bend the rules. They're gonna find a way. How many people cheat on their taxes? I'm just being real. How many people bend the rules on certain things so that they can shave off a few dollars, save a few dollars, etc., etc., etc. So, at the end of the day, this is a foreshadowing of what could possibly come to all of these other states. Because it's not only just a focused area, it is the entire state of Minnesota that is getting screwed here. Just so you know. So this is what she said. She says here, enough is enough. The Trump administration has uncovered massive fraud in Minnesota and Minneapolis. Let me just make this abundantly clear. I guarantee you, wherever you reside in, whatever city you reside in, the fraud, the massive fraud, I guarantee you, is happening in every freaking state. It's not just Minnesota, baby. Just saying that out loud. There are plenty of people that are saying that they need food stamps, SNAP benefits, that don't need it at all. But they get it anyway. They still save some monies. Just saying. And all these other cities and states, you don't think people are using taking advantage of the system if they can? I'm just saying, it's not just Somalians. It's white, black, Puerto Rican, Asian, purple, black, purple, polka dotted, and green people too. They're all, cutting corners. Let's be real. So, but they're looking at Minnesota right now, especially with everything that's going on. So now they're saying massive fraud in Minnesota and Minneapolis. Billions siphoned off of fraudsters. And those in charge have zero plan to fix it. So today, or yesterday, USDA is suspending federal financial awards to Minnesota and Minneapolis, effective immediately until sufficient proof has been provided that the fraud has stopped. I don't know how they're going to prove that. I don't know how they're going to finally go, okay, let's turn the light switch back on. Let's turn the SNAP benefits and the government funding back on to the people of Minnesota and Minneapolis. I don't know how they're going to turn that switch back on, but hey, they're going to do their due diligence, and I guess they're going to go from there. All right. No more handouts to thieves. Time to drain the Minnesota swamp and put American taxpayers first. But you got to remember, I'm sorry, but there are American taxpayers that are in Minnesota that are abiding by rules, that are not cutting corners, that are not fraudsters. The entire state of Minnesota, all of them fraudsters. You got to understand, there are people that are going to be hurt in the wake of them shutting off federal funding. Let's not forget, not only just SNAP benefits, let's not forget about the children here, but you're also talking about organizations, et cetera, that use that funding, that are literally legitimately needing that funding. They are not fraudsters. They're not committing fraud. Those people are getting screwed right now. So again, my concern and my care is for the people who actually do need it, that aren't cutting corners, that are not stealing from taxpayers' dollars. That is what I'm worried about. And that's something that you guys should be worried about too, because now you got other people, millions and millions of people that are getting screwed over unjustifiably. They're getting punished for other people that are bending the rules. You see here, I know some people out here I'm seeing on the Twitch and the Rumbles and all that. All of them, some people like good on them. Drain that damn Minnesota swamp. But what about those kids and those families that actually need that funding? What about those organizations and those businesses that actually need that funding? Now, if they just switch it off for like a day or two, that's one thing. But if they switch it off and it goes on for several weeks, that is a big problem. So again, I hope that when they do what they need to do, draining the Minnesota swamp, they're able to expose what needs to be exposed, rid those bad guys out of that situation, and turn that mother-loving switch back on as soon as possible. Because you're talking about affecting children in Minnesota, and there's lots of them. That's just my concern. But moving on, I just wanted to bring that up to you guys. So I'm sure there's more and more people, even more riled up and more mad because of what news has been given about that. But so some people are like, damn, we back in November all over again. We in November all over again. And this ain't a government shutdown, except it is the government shutting it down. You feel me? Okay. Yeah. Bars. But again, hopefully it is something that gets eradicated and they're able to do what they need to do very quickly. Drain that swamp, drain it quickly, and get those things turned back on, because it's about the kids. And also, it's not only just putting food in the mouths of those kids, it's also making sure those kids get the things that they need from those federal fundings. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about the kids at the end of the day, if you ask me. But moving on, this is what happened last night. And we have got to talk about it, and this is insane. This is absolutely insane. So apparently, anti-ICE protesters attempted to storm the canopy by Hilton Hotel, where they believed, apparently there was a tip. Somebody gave a tip to somebody, and then it spread like wildfire, saying that ICE agents were actually staying in the Hilton Hotel. So, you know, the Hilton's good. Like that's like a nice spot. You feel me? That ain't a Motel 6. It definitely ain't a Red Roof Inn. They staying at a Hilton. If that's true, they living in the lap of luxury. They make sure that their agents are sleeping good. But nonetheless, Hilton for real now. I'm surprised, kind of impressed. You know what I'm saying? Damn. $50,000 signing bonus, help pay off all your debts. Then on top of that, while you are traveling, you get to stay in plush, mother-loving hotel rooms? Damn. Real talk. That's a whole lot of, that's nice. 1,000 count, thread bed sheets and stuff like that. Damn. Room service? Word? Okay. I guess that's why people are signing up so quickly. Right? Moving on, though. This is the footage from the moment that they tried to break in the Hilton. Damn. Crazy.
do this. This ain't gonna help. Come on, go. Get out. Go. Get out. This don't help nobody. Let's go. Come on. Get out. Out. Get out. Get out. Whoa. Come on. This is private property. Go. We're calling the police right now. Police, go. Come on. Go. You got to go. No, you can't be inside. They're pushing nobody, man. They're pushing me. You gotta go. I can't. They're pushing me. Whoops. I'm being pushed. I can't. What? I'm just here for my check, bro. What are you mad at me for, bro? No, bro. You gotta go, man.
You know, I think what's really crazy about this is that you got this guy right here going, I can't move. Oh, man, they keep pushing me. I can't go nowhere, bro. I'm sorry, I can't go nowhere. They said to go. They said to go, y'all. Like I said, I'm all for a protest. I'm all for freedom of speech. I'm all for that. All right. And yes, it even means on the other side of the fence, too. Even though I don't like, racist, fascist crap, too. But they have that right, too. But at the end of the day, if they say kick rocks, y'all. Like, showing up and going inside a hotel is not changing anything. It's not going to make anything better. It makes things worse. And yet they are here trying to make this thing go down.
Hey.
This is giving me J6 vibes for some weird reason. Why does this look like a... You see what I'm saying? Okay, I digress. Let's continue.
So serious right now?
I don't know if they told us, but I know they're not. I can tell you that much, bro. Hey, stop doing this, bro.
This is not what I'm not about.
We're not checking in on the government.
It's not me.
I know you are. Hey.
I'm going to keep it here. But I'm reminding y'all being cheap. Yo, this shit is not working. Bro. Chill out, bro. What the fuck? Stop. Somebody's gonna get hurt. Stop. Knock it off, man.
And I will say this too. This is not enough security. I'm going to say it out loud. This is not enough security. I'm sorry. You got hundreds, if not thousands of people that are clamoring and trying to get inside that space. And you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, I think like 6 dudes that are like blocking the doorway. Like, this is a recipe for disaster. And what I meant by the J6 situation, I meant by what I just showed you in the chat, in the comment. It's like the bottleneck, them trying to get in through that doorway with all the cops. Like, some of the cops are getting smashed into doors, etc. I mean, it was all bad, right? But I digress. Let's continue. See, even with J6, this was the very sad situation. This right here should not be happening, guys. I'm going to say it. This should not be happening. They said F off, go away. They shouldn't even be trying to break into this hotel. Real talk. They shouldn't even be trying to break into this hotel. It's not going to change. It's not going to make anything better. It's just going to escalate to things becoming worse. People could get very, very hurt with this kind of activity. But Oh, and here's the other thing. Somebody just said, "Damn, it feels good to be a Raider." Just said, "Give security bear spray." I'm telling you right now, you don't think that they're going to be ready this time around? Last night, this happened last night. You don't think tonight they're going to be like, "Oh, no. Fool me once. Shoot, this is never happening again." I'll tell you what. You see what I'm saying? So now this is all bad. And you got to remember too, they've had a few days, because what happened is if my memory serves me correctly and everything's turned into like one big blur. But didn't they say she lost her life? Renee Nicole Good lost her life on Wednesday, correct? It was Wednesday when she lost her life, right? So now this is Friday. So people who live out of town knew that, oh yeah, there will be some sort of protest, some sort of demonstration by Friday. So this is giving people who live in neighboring states, neighboring cities, etc., plenty of time. Even the agitators, even the bad guys, even the bad actors, paid or not, an opportunity to travel and to get here. Like I said, there are professional bad guys out here that are just going to cause chaos for the sake of chaos. This is when we start hearing the words Antifa again. Remember that word? I mean, we still hear from time to time, it gets sprinkled in there, but this is when we start hearing those words, those names, etc. You see what I'm saying? More and more, like it's like we're back in 2016, the first term. We're back in 2016, 2017, 2018, around that same time. Just everything has been shot with everything has been injected with a shot of adrenaline and a whole lot more steroids. That's what basically we're living in right now. As much as we feel like we're like in a repeat, like we're back in a rerun. Oh no, this one's different now. This one's different. And and one thing I fear is that, given the fact that we have a whole lot more adrenaline and a whole lot more steroids jacked in there, that there's going to be a whole lot more people losing their lives. That's the thing I fear, for real. But let's continue. This is wild stuff, y'all. This is not good. This is not good.
I'm gonna need you to back up. These people are not here. And fuck you too. I'm not chill about this shit. Because I see how bad it is. Stop touching this woman. There's an easy solution. Walk away. He goes in too loud. Stop touching that woman. You have no opportunity.
You know, it's crazy that they're now trying to negotiate with the security, being like, yo, just step away, man. Just step away. Do you realize that they're not going to step away? They can't. Let's be real. If they were to do it, cameras are all up in their face. Let's just be real. If they were like, we are with you 100%, we don't like that ICE is here, you're 110% right, the theory, the rumor that you heard is true, do you really think that they're just going to be like, yeah, go ahead, bro? Go ahead, bro. Do you really think that's going to happen? I'll tell you this. Nah. No freaking way is this going to happen when you got cameras all up in your face, live. It's not going to happen. If cameras were off and this was all a different situation and people weren't live streaming this crap all the same time, maybe one of these guys might be like, just go. But you didn't see me. You know what I mean? But They ain't going to do it. They still got jobs, man. They got lives and mouths to feed. Shoot. They ain't going to move.
You have no obligation to this building. You have nothing but a paycheck and having a genuine conversation. Alright? Like, I mean, you're fucking ridiculous, man. Don't fucking move it. Come on. Go. It's not even out there, man. This is not how we do this, guys. But I anticipate, but I'm gonna need you to back up something. Guys, can you leave, please? We just want to lock this place. Please leave, guys. We're asking nicely. Thank you guys.
This is so sad.
Someone's got a head on their shoulders here. Are you okay?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. They got that side locked up, right? They got people leaving that side, but that doesn't mean that people aren't going to go to the other side. You know, there's other entrances. There are other ways to get to to the building or get inside the building. So again, like I said, it's not going to stop anything. It's just more chaos, y'all. Look at this. Whoa. Like I said, I was waiting for the boy with the piccolo, but we got the girl with the piccolo. Okay, we got the girl with the piccolo. We just need a bandage on her head, and she needs to have a limp, and we just need a drummer boy behind her. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why there's all this. You see what I'm saying? Like like I said, protests are fine and everything. Protests are fine and everything, but sometimes I feel like it's all ate up. You know what I'm saying? It's just all ate up. It's just a cornucopia, a smorgasbord of just sound. You know? Let them express themselves, I guess, right? Okay. I think we all get the idea. You know, there's a lot of chaos, and you know, I don't know about you guys. Sorry, this is a joke. It's just a joke, but in my head, I'm like, you know, when I think of getting my voice heard and anti-ice stuff, I just got a hankering to pull out my piccolo. I'm sorry. There's just something weird. It's just something weird about it. Like I gotta pull out my piccolo. You know what I mean? I just, you know, I got a hankering to play that piccolo. I'm like, I just see it right over there, and I'm like, one day, piccolo. One day soon, we shall play. You know? But anyway, it's just like I said, unrest, civil unrest equals piccolo, recorder. Somebody's out here playing the trumpet. Yeah, real talk. Thinking that they're Miles Davis out here. Cool as Miles Davis. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just saying. Now, one thing is for sure, this is very interesting because there was a statement by the Hilton a couple days ago, about today's what, the 10th, 4 days ago. All right. They apparently said that they were actually refusing to let ICE stay in their hotel rooms, in their hotels. This is what the Hilton was doing. They were allegedly refusing them to let ICE agents stay at these hotels. But then all of a sudden now we got them at these hotels in the Hilton in Minneapolis. Right? That's interesting. Unless they lied, right? And did something else. I mean, even an email saying this. Apparently, they're refusing them reservations. So after further investigation online, we have found information about immigration work connected with your name, and we will be canceling your upcoming reservation. You should see a proper cancellation email in your inbox shortly from Hilton. This is somebody who actually was receiving an email. They were trying to set up a reservation there, working for ICE, and allegedly ICE, the hotel said nope, which is interesting, right? So here's another piece. Now, you know, not every day do I play anything from Steve Bannon, but he out here and he's saying that an inside source inside the hotel, a Hilton hotel employee apparently tipped off the protesters, saying that ICE agents were staying at that hotel. And that's why there was such a reaction. Let's take a listen to this. This is interesting. Mind you, this is Steve Bannon, so take it with a grain of salt.
This thing's getting, I tell you, Antifa's pouring in. They surrounded the hotel. They took it over. They want the Hilton employees tipped them off to that ICE agents were staying there. You were there. Give us an update.
Thanks for having me on, Steve. Yeah, it's mayhem down here. We're here with part of the crew, the posse's down here. And last night they got tipped off. Some of the hotels did have ICE agents in them, but some of them didn't. But listen, Antifa types, they didn't really care. They were just there to terrorize local hotel guests, banging on windows all around any hotels, shining high-powered flashlights all over the windows. And as you can see from the videos, any kind of instrument they could use, pots and pans, trumpets, drums, bucket drums, lots and lots of whistles, just to cause a noise. A noise violation is an understatement. And this is all, mind you, after the police called an unlawful assembly.
Kevin, is were the police there? Did the police retreat? Why didn't the police step in and throw them out of the hotel? Have the police lost control and Mayor Fry lost control of the city, sir?
Well, there's some debate about that. I think Mayor Fry, he's continued with the sanctuary city policy, and it's not unlike Philadelphia. So it did seem that way at first, but there was a rally as well of state conservation officers that came later, and they brought some riot gear. They brought the gas, pepper balls, and the tear gas. None of it was deployed, but you're right. We were hoping to see much more of.
Kevin, hang on, Kevin. That was just perform. That was
Kevin.
Performative. They brought it out and didn't use it. The hotels were overrun because they were hunting for ICE agents. Correct, and the ICE agents had no defense.
It seemed that way, and honestly.
What? Say what? Say what? Kevin. What? Kevin. But Kevin, though. Kevin. They had no protection? Huh? That makes no sense. It's not like Jonathan Ross threw a rock at Renee Good. He had a weapon. They all have weapons. There is footage being shared all over the internet showing ICE agents pulling out their gats and pointing them straight up at protesters' faces. So you mean to tell me they don't have any protection? Say that again. Stop.
Honestly, Steve, what I saw was that they had these guys in high visibility safety vests, and they were blocking traffic, and everybody kind of stood down. The traffic stood down from these high visibility agitators, these paid agitators, it seemed, and they would block traffic. They're not certified anything. They're not city workers, nothing. But when we would go to the hotels,
you and your brother have fought with and been part of this the resistance fight against Antifa. Are more Antifa pouring into the city? Are these outside now agitators, but professional? These are professional revolutionaries. Is that what? Because the crowd last night is very different than the previous nights. Are we starting to see more of Antifa come in?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, there's a call.
Say the magic word, Antifa. You know what I'm saying? Okay, it's back
for some protests this afternoon. And then we'll see maybe larger ones tonight, but also, it's the weekend. I mean, hey, and not that these people have jobs anyway, but I think we will see some from out of state come to protest again tonight. And I think last night was a bit of a trial run to see what they could get away with.
Again, Kevin. Let me just say this here. I think there's going to be a lot. I already said this to you guys on Wednesday, that sure, Wednesday night, people are going to mourn. Thursday, people are going to get a little agitated. Friday, that's when everybody comes out. Even the freaks come out at night. The freaks come out at night. So, of course, we're going to see that. Of course, we're going to see more people showing up because not everybody was able to show up on a Wednesday. Here's the other thing, too. Like I said earlier, it gives more people an opportunity to travel. Everyone can jump in a car or a bus or, on a train or plane and fly right over there to make their voices heard. But here's the other thing, too. There's been reaction and demonstrations going on throughout the country. It's not only happening in Minnesota. There are people out there doing it in all different cities throughout the country. People are very upset about what happened to Renee Nicole Good. So, of course, you're going to see more people showing up. Some of these people have regular 9-to-5 jobs and have families Monday through Friday. But then the weekend, it's like, hey, can I, babysitter, do you mind watching the kids while I go out here on a Friday night? And no, not going to the local bar to try to pick up girls or pick up a fella. No, I'm out here protesting all night. Like I said, they got time on the weekends. During the week, people got things to do. So yes, of course, you're going to see more mayhem and chaos in the streets over this weekend. Of course. Because it's the weekend. And sure, there are going to be agitators that you can say are professional agitators. Sure, you can say that too. Absolutely. But all of them? I doubt it. There are people that are angry. There are people that felt some type of way with George Floyd, that have done it back then, that are now back here for this situation. Come on now. So again, it's these words that they use to try to twist it, to make it sound like this and there's something else. And it's all like, oh yeah, these guys are all paid. Well, it doesn't matter whether or not they're paid or not. Still bad things are happening in the streets. And then the other thing too is a lot of it, aside from that moment and the moments of them vandalizing certain areas, a lot of it was peaceful. A lot of it was. So again, it's choice words. It's always choice words. But let us continue on. There's some other things that have happened today as well that I want to show you. And I know this is going to ruffle some feathers. I already know. Okay. But we have the likes of Ilhan Omar sitting here. She shows up to a ICE facility. And we got to see this. This is crazy. Okay. I'm going to move it up though. Where is it? Right there. And this is on repeat. So hold on.
Here we go.
Tennis player.
Oh, you did. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's good for days.
Been looking for you.
Dang, where the heck is it? Come on, bro. Where's it at? They're just putting this in repeat. Come on. Come on. Where's it at?
Shame! Shame!
So today, myself, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota's 5th District, along with Angie Craig, the Congresswoman for Minnesota's 2nd District, and Kelly Morrison, the Congresswoman for Minnesota's 3rd District, made an attempt to enter Whippley Center here in Minneapolis. We were initially invited in to do our congressional oversight and to exercise our Article 1 duties. When we made it in, it was with the authorization of someone who's been here for a really long time, who understood that we had a congressional duty to enter the building and to see the facility. Shortly after we were let in, 2 officials came in and said that they received a message that we were no longer allowed to be in the building and that they were rescinding our invitation to come in and declining any further access to the building. When we initially entered, I'll briefly describe what we saw. We were taken in to the monitoring center. We were able to see where people were brought in. We were informed that there are 2 planes that are taking off today, taking detainees out of this center into other detention centers outside within the United States. We did ask if those were deportation flights. We were told no. When we entered the detention center, we were able to observe about 20 people that were being detained there briefly. We also were told that there were showers we weren't able to see. We asked if there were hygiene products provided. They told us people are not held long enough to need those, which is insane because
That doesn't make any sense. Why would they not have hygiene material, for lack of a better term, for people, because it doesn't matter, even if they're only there for a day, or they're there for 2 days. You mean to tell me that they can't wash themselves or brush their teeth or anything of that sort? That doesn't make any sense. Like, just typical hygiene material. That's weird. That's weird. Yeah, I don't think that makes any sense. I agree, that is insane.
Heard from people who have been detained here before, and so I will let my colleagues also share their observation, but I will end with this. What happened today is a blatant attempt to obstruct members of Congress from doing their oversight duties. When we appropriate funds as members of Congress, we are expected by the public to do oversight, because the public requires their money be used with transparency and accountability. And what happened today is ICE agents deciding that we were no longer allowed to fulfill our constitutional duties. I will turn it over to Congresswoman Angie Craig of Minnesota's 2nd Congressional District.
Now, first, before we go into what Angie Craig had to say, I just want to make this abundantly clear. I'm just going to read this off screen here really quick. But a large standoff was unfolding outside the Whipple building in Minneapolis as federal agents stand with weapons drawn, while House Representatives Ilhan Omar, who just spoke, Angie Craig, that's about to speak, and Kelly Morrison pushed to conduct congressional oversight at that facility, okay, that has served as a headquarters of thousands of ICE agents. So, of course, they went in, okay? The members were eventually not allowed in, but now they, of course, they were able to go in and see the place for themselves. So this is them giving us a breakdown of what they saw, and what they had and what they didn't have in this facility. So again, very interesting. So now you got Angie Craig speaking out as well.
We were allowed to briefly enter the control room of the detention facility, but were not allowed many more steps thereafter. There was an abrupt decision that we should return to a waiting area and await leadership to come and tell us what was going on. When they arrived, they told us that we are not allowed in the building, that they were rejecting our appeal as duly elected members of Congress
That's
in the
insane.
state of Minnesota from observing the detention center. I came with this court case because that is absolute nonsense. The response was that because the funding for this center came from the one big beautiful bill, not a congressional appropriations bill, that they were denying our access. This document, this court case refutes that. They would not have a conversation, leadership in the facility, and answer any questions at that point. Look, we're here because we're members of Congress. We have every right and responsibility, if we're doing our jobs, to be here today to see what the conditions are in that detention center. We are going to continue to show up. We're going to continue to do our job. We let ICE know, Department of Homeland Security know, that they were violating federal law. They do not care that they are violating federal law. Kelly?
Yeah, Congresswoman Kelly Morrison, Minnesota's 3rd District. I just want to step back and let's talk about our humanity. I agree with my colleagues. Everything that they said is accurate. As a physician myself,
That's wild.
I was very interested to see what the conditions inside were. We were very briefly allowed to go in, but we saw no beds. We saw a lot of young men sitting with their heads in their hands. We were not allowed to speak to any of them. I have privacy forms that I was ready to hand out to constituents. We are better than this. This is not what our great American project should be about.
Interesting. They're being blocked from being able to see anything. They're being blocked from getting information about what's going on in the ICE facility. I mean, here it is, guys. Like I said, there are people out here that are going to be doing cartwheels, excited about this and saying FAFO. But this also kind of reminds me of what happened in the first term. Remember they were detaining a lot of illegals that were trying to get into the country, and they would just put them in these caged caged sectors. Okay, kind of like what we were seeing in what was it called? It was like Alligator Auschwitz or something like that. Remember that? Like that whole place fell apart. But you remember that? And and now we're just in a more augmented, more, like I said, the steroid-induced version of what we saw in the first term. You see what I'm saying? Now, again, for those of y'all who are doing cartwheels and saying FAFO, FAFO, yeah, Alligator Alcatraz. That's what it was. My bad. Alligator Alcatraz. Yeah, that's what it was. But I think it's interesting that we are seeing just a more jacked up, sauced up version of that, guys. This is what we're seeing now. Same thing we saw last term, just a whole lot more meat and potatoes in it, and now it's a brand. Now there's a brand to it. Now it's ICE. It's not just, the deplorable conditions that these kids and these families were living in while they were being deported from the country. Now it's they found a more effective way to block the truth. And you got these 3 representatives that just wanted to see what the living conditions were inside that facility, and they were being blocked. And you got agents, and I'm sure the heads of that particular facility trained the hell out, basically saying, hey, whatever questions that they have, avoid, be vague, give them quick answers and get them the F out. This is a very, very big very, very big problem, because again, the fact that they're not giving the House representatives an opportunity to just take a good look at the facility and how these people are living, that's not good. So you mean to tell me, basically, if Ilhan Omar and the likes of the other 2, Craig and I forgot her last name now. What's her last name? Morrison. You got Omar, Craig, and Morrison all going into that facility. They should be getting those questions answered immediately with absolute transparency on what's actually going on here. So from what we received from those 3, they're basically saying that that prisoners have better living conditions than these people who are detained that are about to get deported from this country. So you mean to tell me that they don't have, their living conditions are so deplorable that even Diddy would be like, damn, I like where I'm at right now? That's crazy. That's crazy. And that is very dangerous. That information now is out there for the world to hear. So all the anti-ICE protesters that are out here, just consume that information as well, right? Tonight's going to be a long night, guys.
Dad, we'll take 1 or 2 questions.
Do you have a sense of who decided to let you in the first place, and then who decided to tell you to leave? Like, can you detail that at all?
And kick
It was
them out.
our understanding that we were let in by the former acting director that allowed us in. He was in that position up until 2 days ago. We did make a phone call before we came here to give him a heads up that we were coming, did facilitate our entry into the building. And then 10 minutes or so later, as we were making our way into the actual detention center where people were being detained, we were told that we had to come back out because his higher ups had made a phone call to him saying that we are no longer allowed to be in the building, and that an explanation would be provided to us once we got upstairs.
So Christy Nome, higher ups called in on the bat phone and said, get them out of there right now. And then we'll explain to them later why they're getting kicked out. So then they finally, so Kristi Noem needs to turn to the House of Representatives here and basically say, see, now what had happened was, so what had happened was, the reason why you got kicked out is because we in the middle of a change. We about to we're about to do some things inside that room, and we just don't want you get sick. Because there might be asbestos in the area, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we're in the middle of doing. Okay, we're remodeling the area. We're going to be putting in a spa for these detainees. Okay, so they can get a mani and a pedi, maybe get a spray tan before they get deported. Okay, so that's what we were in the middle of doing. All right, so don't get it twisted. They're all happy over there. They're getting four course meals. Okay, they're getting all their meals. In fact, they're getting more meals than Taco Bell. They're getting more than their fourth meal. Okay, that's what's going on. Okay, so yeah, just so you know, that's what's going down. Like, what are they going to tell them? What kind of BS excuse are they going to tell them? Real talk.
And when we got upstairs, the explanation that we got was, yes, the law is on your side, but we don't care, and we are not going to allow you to fulfill your oversight duties.
Wait, what? What? How is that possible? Make that make sense, y'all. They just said, yeah, the law's on your side. You have every right to be in here, but you can't be in here. Okay? Yeah, you kick rocks. We don't want you here. No, you got every right. No. I'm speaking here. You have every right, but you can't be here. It's within your lawful right to be in this place, but we ain't going to give it to you. What? Say that again.
Forms that I was ready to hand out to constituents. The funding came from the one big, beautiful.
No, is that this is a blatant disregard of the law. Yeah. We are seeing ICE pick up people, not allowing them to.
Hold on.
Are better than the country.
I skipped ahead. I'm sorry.
Stunt.
Damn it.
To allow you to fulfill on your stairs.
There we go.
And when we building, and that an explanation would be provided to us once we got upstairs. And when we got upstairs, the explanation that we got was, yes, the law is on your side, but we don't care, and we are not going to allow you to fulfill your oversight duties.
Yeah, we're breaking the law. We already know we're breaking the law. But here's the thing. We don't care. Say that again. Look at the world that we're living in, y'all. This is exactly what's going down. They don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. They are above the law. That is it. You're hearing this from 3 women. Because let me just say this. Because if this was just Ilhan Omar going in there by herself and she came out with this testament, you know for a freaking fact, 90% of y'all will be like, she a liar. No, 2 others are with her, and they're saying this in chorus, that they were kicked out of a facility that they had every constitutional right to be in there to investigate and see what's going on. Even the higher ups acknowledged that they had the right to be in there and they had the right for transparency. And yet they said, nanny, nanny, boo, boo, we don't care. Get out. That's literally what we just are hearing right now. They don't care. These guys feel like they're above the law. I'm telling you right now, for those of y'all who are like, FAFO, FAFO, imagine if this gets clicked and dragged into your house, into your life. This is not good. This is not good. If they are above the law on this, what else are they above the law in the future? Remember what happened with Venezuela? They went over Congress. Trump went over Congress. He didn't even give Congress a heads up. Didn't even say, sir, hat in hand, sir, Congress, is it okay, that I go and invade and take Maduro? No, he didn't even do that. He said, we gonna do it because I said so. Now we got this situation. Same damn situation. Over there, these people are coming in to see how these people are being taken care of because they're human beings as well. They're human beings as well. And they just said, nope, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. Sorry. Yeah, it's your right to check it out, but you're not allowed. That is a recipe for disaster. I'm going to continue.
Their explanation was
That's
that
insane.
the reason that we could not provide oversight today is because the funding came from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which makes no sense. And per Congresswoman Craig's point, with the recent reaffirmation with the court case in December, they're breaking the law.
Given the context of why you're here today, what should people at home who are horrified by what they saw this week take away from your visit, take away from what you just saw inside there, about how ICE is operating?
Well, this is just one more example of this administration and Kristi Noem violating the law. This is an out of control Trump's ICE.
This is
and
insane.
What people at home should take is that they should call their Republican members of Congress. We need Minnesota Republicans. We need Republicans across this country to stand up to their own party. This is beyond the pale. This administration continues to use Minnesota as a political stunt. And earlier this week, it got a woman killed as they are detaining individuals across Minnesota and across this country. It is our job as members of Congress to make sure that those folks detained are treated with humanity, because we are the damn United States of America, and we don't treat people the way that this administration is treating people in our country. We are better than this.
Yeah, like I said, we're living in the first term, except things are a little bit more polished, not in a good way, and it's chalked up with a whole lot more roids.
This is not a partisan statement. We are better than this, America.
Congresswoman, and I think the other thing that people should know is that this is a blatant disregard of the law.
Yeah.
We are seeing ICE pick up people, not allowing them to have access to their attorneys, to their family members, not allowing access to information that their family members could provide. We've also seen them being denied the ability to contact their members of Congress so that we can liaison and get the proper information that is needed and give comfort to their families of their whereabouts. This hasn't happened before. This is a brand new policy. And when people are disappeared in the darkness, American democracy dies.
Congresswoman,
and it is really important for every single person in this country to understand that they are not only disappearing people who have committed crimes, who are in this country undocumented. They are disappearing U.S. citizens. They are disappearing people who have proper documentation, sometimes telling them that their documentations are wrong, keeping them for days upon days. We've also seen people be deported who have proper documentation yet to be returned to this country. This should not be allowed in a country that roots in itself in freedom and liberty. There is no freedom when you are being detained and your government is being turned against you. This should be appalling to everyone.
The Somali community has been especially targeted by ICE right now. How can you protect them at this point? What can the local government do to protect those constituents?
We are all working across the clock to make sure that people have the resources that they need, that they get to know your rights training, that we expedite documentation for them to carry around so they feel protected. We are also exploring different kind of policies and laws that we have on the books, whether it's on a local municipal level or whether it is on a state level. This is an all hands on deck process. And in Minnesota, we know how to protect one another. And I have been incredibly proud the way our neighbors have shown up for one another. It's been beautiful to see. And that kind of resistance is why ICE agents seem so angry and agitated, because they have never experienced the kind of love that we experience here in Minnesota. And we know that they are going to disappear one day, but we will be here caring for one another and carrying out policy with love here in Minnesota. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys, this is nuts. And there's another piece I want to point out. There have been people that have been deported, and they've even been deported to the wrong country. You know what I mean? Like, imagine being Venezuelan, but you're getting deported to like Mexico, back to Mexico. You see what I'm saying? Those things are actually happening as well. Even the ones that are actually American citizens that have been scooped up by accident or on accident, that have gone through the proper channels saying like, hey, I have all the proper documents and all that. They're still getting deported. They're still getting deported, and then they're being deported to the wrong country. Like, if you're going to do it right. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to do it right. Don't do it, all willy nilly and mess the whole thing and jack the whole thing up. That doesn't make the situation any better. It makes it worse, and it's a bad look for the Trump administration as well. But what's wild to me, I'm just going to repeat what she said. What's really wild to me is not only did they go out of their way to try to get a chance to see what was going on inside that facility. First things first, they were denied, and they were given very vague answers to their questions. They were denied basically any transparency. Then they get a phone call. ICE agents, the guy who oversees that facility, gets a phone call, runs down, basically says, I need to escort you out of here. I'll explain more when we leave, when we get outside. And then he said, yeah, you have every right. You have the right to find out what's going on, but we're not going to give it to you. We're not going to give you the information. Sorry. Have a blessed day. And then they just closed the door. That's it. So if they're living in deplorable conditions, if they're being treated worse or less than animals, we won't know. They hold and hide that information from the elected officials that have every constitutional right to find out what's going on. And you got 3 of them going up there. So it's not, I'm glad it's not just Ilhan Omar up there, giving us the information, because I already know for a fact there are going to be people out here that are going to deny believing her side or what she has heard, right? What she is giving us. So I'm glad that she had other people there to back what she was saying up, because there's plenty of opportunity for people to try to spin it and make it seem like she's lying. I believe her because there was 2 other people there backing her up. It's insane to think that there are people out here that just want to know what the hell's going on, just want truth, just want some transparency, and they can't. They can't get it. I don't know how I sound like a traitor, but okay, Evelyn. I guess I'm a traitor to you. But here's the thing. I'm giving you guys facts. That's it. I'm giving you guys, I'm reacting to things that are being said and what has been exposed. And I think that's a very bad thing. If that's a traitor, then I don't know what is then, then we live in the upside down, which we pretty much already do live in the upside down. Let's just be completely real. We already live in the upside down. But nonetheless, there are protests happening all over the country. We got protests going on in Washington, D.C. You got protests going on in Portland. You got protests going on all over the place. Okay? Again, this is insane to me that we are living in this time. Something has to change. What we're living in, she said, democracy, like if things continue to go the way they are, that democracy is going to die. I honestly think, I really do think that democracy is dead. Sorry, not sorry. I'm just going to keep it a bean. I think democracy is dead. Yep, I said it. I truly think it's gone. I think we're living in an imperialistic regime now. That's what I think. I've already talked to you guys about this in another show, but I'll say it again. Even Tucker Carlson said this, and you want to know something? You want to know? This is how much I know that we're in the upside down, because I agree with him. All they care about is building an empire. Like I said, like you can look at it like Darth Vader. etc. Like, I'm waiting for him to have his own Death Star, like I said in the other show. But he's trying to create colonies for his empire. That's it. And don't worry, we're going to come back to this, but there are some other things. There are some things I do want to show you guys. Because I know Cuomo had a few things to say too. And I want to see what's going on with that. News Nation. He said a few things that I thought were interesting. Wait, hold on. Was it this one? Yep. We got to take a look at this. Okay. Of course, this is after the video, the new POV video that just came out. Chris Cuomo came out with some stuff I think is very interesting. Let's take a listen. Of course, do not forget, guys, please do me a solid, okay? Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it a do. Hit that reaction button, please, and thank you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. And we may be tapping into Iran here in just a second, because we do need to talk about what's going on with that as well, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff going on in Iran, and I at least want you guys to be savvy on what's going on, like why this whole thing is going on, because there is a lot of craziness going on. So in a little bit, we will be talking about that too. But let's hear what Cuomo had to say about this new video and all the stuff that's been going on.
Administration is reportedly sending 1,000 more ICE agents to Minnesota. Why? This, to me, is the definition of strong and wrong. And I know MAGA folk are saying now they're going to find out. I believe that's asking for more violence. And you better remember that when the enemies that you are so desperate to create make life difficult for you for saying it, or for your families. You're playing a stupid and dangerous game. And I know, because I'm stuck in the game. I get the threats. My family has paid the price for my presence in this Thunderdome, and it is only getting worse. This is all just more reason why I reject our poison party politics. You want to know what happened during this shooting in Minnesota? You need to see one video, the ICE agent's camera. Here it is in full.
I'm skipping ahead this, guys.
Yes, he never drops his cell phone. I double down on my position that the legal analysis of the shooting is the least difficult aspect of what's going on here. Both the ICE agent and Renee Nicole Good appear to contribute to the problem. For Good, she is clearly commanded to stop and get out before she attempts to drive off. We see that. And while the video, again, demonstrates what we can see from other angles, which is what? She turns her wheels away from the officer. Despite that fact, there is, judging from his camera angle and others we've seen, contact. However, the officer was not run over, okay? He doesn't even drop his phone and has time to shoot at a direct angle and take her out with a headshot, which I think he knew. Why? I'll tell you in a second. For the ICE agent, he may not have been aware that she turned the wheels and wanted to get away, because he made the choice to walk in front of the vehicle multiple times. Again, agents are trained not to do this because you're creating risk. Doing that creates the circumstances that led to blocking the car. He also appears to move as there is contact, right? Why do I say appears? Because he doesn't fall, he doesn't get run over, and he has the ability to shoot because he stepped out of the way. Now, why do I repeat that point when it's so obvious? Because our president decided to say otherwise, and many are relying on what he said wrongly. So the question becomes, why did he fire? Was he pissed at the other lady with the phone? It goes to state of mind. It takes us to what he said on his own camera. After shooting her in the head and killing her, he says this.
Wow. They play that uncensored. Wow. I didn't know they could do F-bombs on News Nation, but okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I think he says what you think he says. Here it is again.
He really did say that, guys. He really did say that after he pulled the trigger 3 times in her face. Like I said, in her face. Thrice, my lovelies. Thrice in her face. Come on now. And then he said F and B word. What? F and snitch. Huh? What? Like I said before, my reaction after, if I was to pull the trigger, that kind of thing, I'm not sitting there saying F and snitch. I'm going, oh my Lord, is she okay? Oh my God, I just pulled the trigger 3 times. She dead? Is she okay? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm asking all the questions that need to be asked, not F and snitch. Nah. It's no. This is not Arnold Schwarzenegger or a Sylvester Stallone movie. You know, this is real life.
Okay. Be an ugly suggestion to make if that's not what he said. But he said what you think he said. Context. The key here for me is not the language, okay? It goes to state of mind. This is the response of the officer, who then does not even go pursue the victim in the vehicle as it crashes. Why? The reasonable inference is he knew he shot the unarmed mother in the head, likely killed her, hence didn't rush over to the vehicle, as you would assume, as he is trained to do. Instead, his reaction is what you heard. Now, you can cherry pick details, and federal investigators will have to justify whatever conclusions they draw. But there is something very troubling about how people are choosing to see Renee Good, this 37-year-old woman, who tells the agent she isn't angry at him. Remember, she's not the one baiting him. That's this other person, okay? Renee Good is the one who waved past the ICE vehicle. She waved them to go past. She smiles. She says, I'm not mad at you. I don't know what she meant, and we never will. But I see her smiling. I see a dog in the back seat in a car reportedly carrying gifts for her kids with stickers on the back window that some say are her radical affiliations. Look online. What we see are national parks and family memories. This is how narrative destroys nuance and fact. How can you watch what I just showed you and see this person as worthy of condemnation as a domestic terrorist? Really? You seen a lot of jihadis or Antifa types with dogs in the back seat, smiling and saying what she said to officers? Really? I have to go back to Ashley Babbitt, not to compare which is worse, because they are both tragedies that should have never happened. But we must look at why they are seen so differently and what the truth of why they're seen differently is. Babbitt was participating in an attack on the Capitol and is there as they crush a cop, and she is a hero. Renee Good, the same people believe, is a radicalized psycho. That sounds like radicalization to me.
That's a very interesting observation, don't you think? Remember, there are people during the J6 was just the anniversary of J6 was just a few days ago, 4 days to be exact. 4 days ago, people were out in the streets wearing T-shirts with Ashley Babbitt's name, saying that she was a patriot, that she was an American hero. When in actuality, we all saw the video. We've all seen it. She lost her life when she was trying to jump through a window or through a hole in a door okay, trying to get to elected officials. And then you had, of course, Secret Service take her down. But she is being seen as a patriot, not a domestic terrorist. Very interesting, right? Sure, she was unarmed. Sure. But at the same time, they said, back up. Pistols are in her face. And she still jumped through it. I'm just saying, it doesn't matter. We're not trying to, like, I agree with what Cuomo's saying here. We're not trying to say what was justified and what was not. But I do think it's very interesting that you have somebody who was in her car, was sitting there going, I'm not mad at y'all. Like, we all good. Like, I ain't mad. We good kind of thing. Waving them past to be considered a domestic terrorist when you got somebody on J6, the infamous, notorious J6, trying to hop through a window, trying to get to the elected officials down the hallway that were all huddled up and scared out of their minds as well. She's being called an American hero. Hey, and this is what's funny, because I feel like if we could say FAFO about what happened to Renee Nicole Good, then you should be saying FAFO about Ashley Babbitt as well. Sorry, but that's just what it is. Just like what we talked about earlier about Iran. Iran protesters are like, Trump, help us. And Trump's like, oh, touch any little hair on those protesters' heads, Iran, and we will nuke the hell out of you, or whatever the hell it is, right? But then you look over here in America, we got protests, and he's like, take them all down, rev it up, turn the volume all the way up on security and rip the knob off, right? Interesting situation, right? So again, Cuomo's making a very good point here. And it's all based on bias. It's how it fits the specific demographics narrative. And that's what's really sad. How Ashley Babbitt lost her life is tragic. How Renee Nicole Good lost her life is tragic as well. And they should be seen as such, not FAFO, or she's an American hero. Shouldn't be looked at like that. They should be both looked at in the same vein. But unfortunately, if it doesn't fit the bias, if it doesn't fit that narrative, they're going to spin it and they're going to twist it and they're going to do whatever they can to manipulate it to work for that specific narrative. Look at what's going on, or what has happened with Renee Nicole Good. She lost her life, and the first thing Trump says is she's a paid agitator, or a professional agitator, and that she's a domestic terrorist. And then that's all people are saying about her, at least those that are on the side of the FAFO. She's just a domestic terrorist. But there was no narrative out there about Ashley Babbitt, except for those who said, yo, she shouldn't have done what she did. She was part of the J6 situation. Those on one side said what happened at J6 was absolutely disturbing and should not have happened on American soil. It shouldn't have. But they spin it, they turn it, they twist it, they manipulate it to make it seem like all those J6ers are American heroes. Make that make sense. I'm just saying, if you're going to look at Ashley Babbitt and say one thing, if you're saying it on the positive side of things and being like, oh, what happened to her was tragic and she's an American hero, why aren't you looking at it at the same thing over here with Renee Nicole Good? Ah, I see. Because it doesn't fit your narrative. It doesn't fit your narrative. So that's why you bend the lens, you turn the lens to make it seem like something else. That's why she's suddenly a domestic terrorist. She is one, but Ashley Babbitt isn't one. Doesn't make sense, guys. So I get what he's saying, 110%. It's a great observation, in my personal opinion. We're going to listen to a little bit more.
How can you want the cop at the Capitol to get the book thrown at him and demand no charges in Minnesota? Do you see how wrong that is? Are you really that committed to being for a side that you're surrendering being a human being? Again, I'm not comparing the two. They are both tragedies, although there are a lot of similarities in the legal analysis. It's not only bad when a situation affects one of yours. Do you know why? Because they're both yours. The reaction to the shooting is as egregious as the shooting itself, in a way. You cannot really defend painting this victim as too many would like. This has to be a turning point. You know it is wrong. Not it's wrong that he shot. Let the investigators decide. I'm fine with that. I've taken you through what I see and what the test is. What's wrong, unjustifiably by any measure, is the reaction. And all I hear is people desperate to create more of it. Even if the shooting is justified because of Renee Good's panic to flee in fear, or whatever her motivation was, even if it's justified, it has to be a moment where we realize something has to change. The officer had a split second, really, to make a choice, right or wrong. And you know what I think. I've been telling you since it happened. We have had days, not a split second, and still so many are insistent that this dead mother is a demon. And now the president has decided to send an even stronger provocation. And no, I do not believe you can convince me reasonably that needing 3,000 officers on the ground to do immigration work in Minnesota is warranted.
It's not. It's not warranted. But here's the thing. We already know that Trump believes in strength. What is it? Peace through strength? Something along the lines of that. That's what they believe. Peace through strength. So, of course, they're going to augment the amount of agents and officers out in Minnesota or Minneapolis. Of course they are. What do they want? They want to bring more chaos. That's what they want. And this is the reason why the elected officials in Minneapolis are basically saying, please don't give them this. Do not hand it to them on a silver platter. Don't give them what they want. But that's not what that's what they're doing right now by causing chaos in the streets. All right. Yes, I know a good portion of it is peaceful, but they're out here. They're trying everything they can to cause chaos in the streets, and especially by bringing more and more people, deploying more and more troops or agents out in Minnesota or Minneapolis. It's only going to make things worse. And that last night was just stage one of these protests. And I hope it stays at stage one. But stage two might be tonight. Shoot, it might go to stage 5. We don't know. But I'm hoping that is not the case here, right? I really, really hope that that's not the case. But I agree with what Chris Cuomo's saying there. You know, like the way that we see certain situations, if it doesn't fit our narrative, like our own perspective and our own bias, we will do everything we can to twist it and spin it and turn it into something else. And now, because Trump is the trendsetter, let's be real, he's the popular guy in school, right? So as soon as he says obliteration or something's been completely obliterated, it becomes the word of the month or the word of that trend, however long that trend lasts for. This thing that happened to Renee, Nicole Good, what happens? He says domestic terrorist, boom, she is such. Doesn't matter anymore. Because everybody else, those that are hardcore MAGA supporters, believe every single word that comes out of his mouth. If he says it is the hottest country, we're back and it's the hottest country in the world, regardless of eggs still being expensive as all get out and gas not dropping in price at all, people will still believe in their minds, well, Trump said we're the hottest country and the economy is better, so I believe him. That's the sad part, and that's the unfortunate world that we live in, that no matter what he says, it turns into truth, even if it's a full-on lie. That is something that needs to be drilled in all of our brains. Like I said, even with the whole Epstein file thing, which is still like, where's it at? I'm still wondering where the hell that stuff is too. But even with that, there were people out there trying to move the goalpost as best as they could to justify why the list doesn't exist anymore. That it really is about, like, it really is a Democrat hoax. Are we really serious? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we get some files. Some, not all, still waiting for the rest. But we get some of the files, right? And even then, people who are in the world of the addicted to the drug called denial, they will suck on that teat as long as they can. Because let me tell you, denial is one hell of a drug. Do not ever underestimate the power of denial, because people don't want to rip the veil from in front of their faces to see the harsh truth and the harsh reality that is actually sitting 6 inches from their nose. But they'll take whatever's being said by an elected official who happens to be the most popular guy in school, and they'll take that as face value. When in actuality, they're telling us it's one thing, but it really isn't. Okay? It's sad. It's very sad. And at some point, the world, at some point, we have to wake up. And no, I'm not saying we need to be woke and stuff like that. No, I'm not saying that.
Moving overseas.
All I'm saying is that there's got to be, at some point, a moment where we start to realize that things aren't not as they seem, and things aren't going as smoothly as we think they are. Let me repeat this one more time. There is a lot of turmoil going on throughout the entire country right now. Protests are sparking off. Tonight will be a very busy night. We already know that. Okay. But here's the thing. We also have a president and an administration that is not looking and making sure that we are okay here in this country, and trying to squash any of the issues and the problems and the drama that's going on in this country. They are busy looking at Greenland. They are busy looking at oil in Venezuela. They are busy looking at striking Mexico. Those are the things that they're interested in looking at, rather than looking at what's going on here on domestic soil. That is a big problem. President Peace is saying, while he says with his right hand, oh, I'm President Peace. I stopped all these wars. Look at what I did. I deserve that Nobel Peace Prize, right? Whilst this other hand is doing something completely different. I'm President Peace, though. Look it over here. Look, I'm President Peace, but I'm also striking Mexico. I'm also attacking Venezuela and taking their terroristic leader. I'm also looking at taking over Cuba. And oh yeah, I'm just going to take Greenland. Yeah, whether they like it or not, I'm taking it. In fact, I want you guys to hear from the horse's mouth. I want you guys to hear Trump say, I'm taking Greenland, whether they like it or not. Hold on. Because we need to hear that too. Which is also insane. Let's take a look at this. It's a quick 20-second clip, but we need to see it. It's crazy.
Right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay?
Hold on. Don't worry. I'm gonna repeat that again because I want you guys, everybody in the nosebleed seats, to hear that. But I just want to point this out. He just said we are going to take Greenland, whether they like it or not. What do you think that means? Don't worry, I can't hear you, so I'm just going to say it. Okay. That means he's going to take it by force. Because clearly, if he was to turn over there and go, "Hey, listen, hey, we're willing to give you billions of dollars for the country, so we can have full access and full control over the country." You know for a fact, the Denmark is not going to release this particular island all willy-nilly. I don't think there's enough money in the world to make the Kingdom of Denmark turn to President Trump and say, "Oh, for that much? Okay, yeah, come on. Take it all. It's all ice, though, but enjoy yourself." Okay, there's only a couple thousand, there's only 30, 50, whatever, 50 million thousand. I don't know how many people are in there, but there's only a few people. Okay, so enjoy yourself. Enjoy that ice, baby. And I mean the island, not ice, not ice, right? But for that much money, go ahead, baby, take it. Go on, girl. Take it, man. With your crazy Dorito ass. Take it. You know what I'm saying? Man, I love you now. You're going to give me this much? Damn, that's a whole lot of quiche. Go ahead, take Greenland. We good. That's not going to happen. Like, that is a fantasy. So what does that mean? He going to take it, y'all, because he just said there's no way I'm giving that territory to the likes of Russia or China. Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem, though. This is my issue. Isn't he cool with Putin? I thought he was cool. I thought they were all chummy. I thought America and Russia were cool with each other. So why would he say out loud, "I'm not giving that to Russia. I'm not letting Russia have that"? Are you out your cotton picking mind? Word? I thought they were cool. And especially, we already know that the relationship between America and China has always been volatile. But at the same time, he's sitting there going, nah, not China too. I get China. I get Russia too. But at the same time, the fact that he's sitting there going like, "I'm not letting these countries take over Greenland. I'm taking it." You want to know something that's also interesting? I guarantee you, I have a feeling that Russia and China hadn't even thought about Greenland until he started talking about taking Greenland. Think about that too. As soon as he's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to take Greenland," because we need Greenland, right? I guarantee you, Russia and China were like, "Oh snap, there is a place called Greenland. I totally forgot." Shoot. Good eye, Trump. Good eye. Or maybe they realize that, hey, it is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. We ain't going to take it. We don't need it. Got plenty of other things to look at over here. Same thing with China. China's like, "Yo, we want to look at Taiwan, though." Okay, bro. Taiwan, though. Because Taiwan looks hella tight, though. That look good. We want to take that. So here's the thing. You got Trump looking at Greenland. You got Russia having issues right now. You got Israel having issues as well, alongside Iran. Then you got China looking at, they're literally salivating. They're salivating, literally frothing at the mouth for Taiwan. And then now you got Trump looking at Greenland. Oh, and then throwing strikes on Mexico and trying to take over Cuba, and we already took over Venezuela. Don't you find that very interesting? We are in a world of trouble. This is about to get very, very messy. Russia got bigger problems, bigger fish to fry, or bigger interests, bigger prospects in their sights. And I don't think it has anything to do with Greenland. But now that he's mentioned it like crazy and he's obsessing over it, you never know. There might be an issue here. But nonetheless, he did say, we're going to take it. by any means necessary.
Right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. Right now, we are going.
You heard that, right? We're going to do it the easy way. We're going to do the hard way. That's what he said. Okay, guys. So again, this is not good. Okay. This is all very, very bad. As we are looking at George Floyd 2.0, let's not forget that. All right. There's a lot of things that are going on. A lot of things that are going on outside the country. Yeah, that we need to be looking at too. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of these feathers that are starting to get rustled, okay, or ruffled, all right, may not need to be agitated. You see what I'm saying? So this is very interesting, guys. All right. Now, don't forget, there were oil tankers that were taken in international waters. 2 of them now. One of them was headed towards Russia. Another one was still in the Caribbean Sea, but at the same time, allegedly, it's alleged that oil was supposed to be going over to China. That's not good. Then again, he's sitting here saying like, "Hey, we don't want them to be our neighbors. This is anti Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Okay, we do not want them to be our neighbor." Hell to the no. So again, what is going on? What is happening here? And there's a lot of turmoil going on and a lot of issues that are just percolating. And there are troops that are leaving areas that were deployed there for a very long time in the areas like Gaza, etc. And they're removing troops. Certain countries are removing troops out of certain areas. Why? Something's going on. Then you saw the doomsday plane flying in the air. Doesn't fly very often. So why was it in the air? What's going on, y'all? What is going on? We talked about that yesterday. What is going on? We got some issues. We got a lot of issues all simultaneously going on right now. Now we got this 10-day plus protest going on in Iran. Here's a little bit of a breakdown, and they talk about more about what's going on, but this has been 10 days. Dozens of people have lost their lives. There's been a lot of turmoil going on. The country is on fire right now. You got the son of a I forgot like what position, but he was like the son of like one of the previous leaders or something like that, and now he is online demanding regime change. And what he has put out online has been hit or seen 80 million times. And the country only has 90 million people. Yeah. So you got people speaking out and being like, yo, it's time to take over. It's time for the people to stand up and take over this country. Take our country back. People are losing their lives. People are getting shot in these streets. Real talk. And of course, Trump now has said, you touch any of those protesters, there will be a problem. But we'll see. You got upheaval going on in Iran. You got Israel still having beef with Iran. They're literally licking their chops at this situation because they see this as, oh, this would be prime time to go in there and just destroy, right? Like I said, there's a lot of bad going on all at the same time. And again, some people are thinking WW3. I hope not. We ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that, right? But let's take a look at this. This is from CBS News. Take it with a grain of salt because it's CBS News, you feel me? But we're going to get into it. I call this Trump. This is Trump TV in my personal opinion. But let's take a look at what they got to say about this.
Well, moving overseas now, Iranian officials have cut off internet and phone service for the country in an attempt to curb protests, which escalated overnight. Thousands of people flooded the streets across multiple cities after Iran's exiled crown prince urged Iranians to make their voices heard. The protests started over worsening economic conditions and have grown to include calls for regime change. Dozens of people have died and more than 2,000 have been detained in the demonstrations over the last 2 weeks. This morning, Iran's supreme leader vowed he would not back down. He also accused President Trump of inspiring the protests. Meanwhile, Trump has threatened action if Iran kills protesters. Samantha Vinograd is with me now to discuss. Sam, it's great to see you. Can you set the table for us and talk about exactly how these protests began and why they've escalated so quickly in the past few days?
Sure, and I think it's worth putting this in context. Iran is no stranger to protests. Protests have been omnipresent across Iran since its inception. However, these protests do feel different, Weija. These protests started really by the bazaris, by the shopkeepers, who started protesting over rising prices and economic conditions. Inflation is around 42%. The rial, the currency in Iran, has tanked. Purchasing power is horrible. These protests started, they quickly spread across the country. More folks are getting involved, and they have evolved into calling for political demands as well, including the overthrow of the 86-year-old supreme leader. At the same time, this feels different, not only because the bazaris are involved, who've typically been supporters of the regime, but also because Iran is just in a different position geopolitically than it was before. Syria has fallen. Iran was attacked by Israel and the United States. It is less strong than it was before. And the regime so far, relatively speaking, for now, is being less heavy-handed than they have been in the past.
For example, in 2022, when we saw probably one of the biggest widespread demonstrations in that country. Moving forward, what is the big difference in terms of the plate of options they have to curb these protesters compared to, 4 years ago?
Well, in terms of alleviating the underlying drivers of the protests, the economic conditions, their hands are tied. They are under crippling sanctions because of their nuclear program, support for proxies, and more. And the only pathway to lifting those sanctions is really some sort of nuclear deal with the Trump administration. So we'll see if this in any way does kickstart more of a dialogue with the United States. But what many of us are watching for is whether the regime does heed President Trump's warning that he will respond with lethal force to help protesters if Iran engages, if the regime engages in more violence or not. So the next couple of days are going to be incredibly instructive.
Now, again, you have Trump sitting here saying, oh, I have no problem jumping in and being a part of this fight if need be. So he's all about this. He's all about protests that are going on here. Right? I just think that's very interesting. No problems here. If there's an issue, he will answer. Let me just say this. You got him looking at Venezuela. Then now he's looking at Mexico. Remember, he said, I will drop bombs on Mexico. It's happening. So that's eventually going to happen at some point here soon. Then you got Greenland. He says, we're going to take it by any means necessary, whether they like it or not. We will take it, whether it's financially or by force. We will take it. And then, of course, you got things that are going on in Iran that he may jump in and get involved in as well. We are spreading ourselves way too thin, everybody. I know as much as everybody is like, oh, yeah, we're America, where there's a lot we can do without any issues. Are we sure about that? Are we sure about that? Because honestly, we're at a place right now where you can't oversee everything simultaneously. And then also, if we were to be at that place where we went out there and we're at all these different places, you don't think that would cause some sort of vulnerability for America itself? I'm talking about the land. Troops being able to come in and do what they want to do. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend. But here's something else we got to take a look at.
On notice over its response to anti-government protests. Iran's supreme leader blaming President Trump for the unrest and says the government won't back down, setting the stage for a violent crackdown.
Now, I wanted you to know it's inevitable. We are probably going to fly back over there, do another Midnight Hammer 2. Sounds like I have to say it. It sounds like the sequel to a porno. I'm sorry. But again, it's going to be Midnight Hammer 2, The Second Coming. You see what I'm saying? Wow. But here it is. Midnight Hammer 2. And hopefully it's successful, but it may not be successful the second time around. You never know. But there will be another Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer 2. Right? Okay. I could go more, but I'm not going to go more. I'm not. Okay. These man's about to drop some loads. You know what I'm saying? It's bad. It's bad. It's not good. It's not good. At the end of the day, it's not good. And it's going to be very, very nasty. I have a feeling. And I don't think it's going to be as in and out as this last one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We go now to Stephanie Bennett in London with more on this. Hi, Stephanie.
Molly, as we approach nearly 2 weeks of deadly protests, we're also hearing that hospitals across Iran are now becoming overwhelmed with the amount of injured people. Now, despite a complete communications blackout, pictures continue to emerge showing buildings and vehicles on fire as protests expand those anti-government demonstrations, gaining momentum not seen in years. Human rights groups say dozens have been killed and thousands of others arrested. Iran's attorney general warned today that anyone taking part will be considered an enemy of God and could face the death penalty. On X, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio offered support for the protesters, writing, quote, "The United States supports the brave people of Iran." Of course, over the summer, President Donald Trump struck Iran's nuclear sites during Operation Midnight Hammer. Yesterday, he had this warning.
I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts.
Midnight Hammer 2, The Second Coming. That's all it is. Midnight Hammer 2. That's exactly what he's talking about. When he's like, oh, yeah, you know, it may not be boots on the ground. No, he's going to be bringing the B-52s or whatever the hell, Love Shack, baby. What are the B-52s or the B-2s or the B? You know what I'm talking about. The plane. What is it called? The stealth plane? Is it a B-52? I can't hear you. You know what I mean? Tin roof rusted. What is that plane called? It's a B-2 bomber. Thank you. B-2 stealth bomber. Okay? Like, let's be real. Okay? He gonna have that whole thing happen again. They're gonna be Midnight Hammer 2. Okay? The B-52s. Nobody? Okay. Sign says, stay away, fools. But here's the thing. If that happens again, I think they're going to be more prepared. They're going to be ready. You think that the supreme leader of Iran is just going to lay down and take it again by the Midnight Hammer? I doubt it. Because love rules at the Love Shack. Oh, dear God. Stop. Let's continue. Let's talk about this Iran.
Iran's supreme leader offered a stern message and has accused protesters of acting on behalf of President Trump.
The Islamic Republic was established with the blood of several 100,000 honorable people
and it will not back down in the face of those who engage in destruction, nor will it tolerate mercenaries serving foreign powers.
Now, back here in Europe, the leaders of France, Germany, and the UK released a joint statement saying, in part, quote, they are deeply concerned about reports of violence by Iranian security forces and strongly condemn the killing of protesters. And also, Molly, we're keeping a close eye on some protests happening here in London outside of the Iranian embassy as well. As the Metropolitan Police, they said on X that they're sending officers out there as well. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie, covering a lot of ground on that for us. As protesters try to topple the regime, could we see the U.S. intervene? We bring in now Hudson Institute Senior Fellow Rebecca Heinrichs. Thank you for bringing us your expertise on this Saturday morning. I want to start with what was touched on in the report about the hospitals being overwhelmed. So people are not just being killed. It's to the degree that the hospitals are having challenges. You have a nuclear program that's been decimated, war losses, economic challenges. It seems like the regime is in a particularly weak position right now. But what are the potential actions that President Trump, that the U.S. may make in Iran? Your thoughts?
Well, Molly, that's exactly right about the situation. So the Iran regime is in an incredibly weak position for several reasons. One, because of American-led economic sanctions, and then the Europeans joined the United States in those sanctions. And then the Israelis, of course, significantly degraded the Iranian military, and then the United States came alongside and then degraded the illicit nuclear program. The combination of those things, of course, has demonstrated that the Iran regime is so much weaker than how they've been projecting to the Iranian people, saying, look, the Iranian regime has told the people, the reason that you are so deprived economically is because we're using all of these investments to protect you from the Israelis and from the Americans. Of course, they say, we don't believe you anymore. You're weak, and they're strong, and they're pro-American. The Iranian people are pro-American. And so I think President Trump is very serious in his continued threats, essentially, to say, if there are crackdowns on the people, the Iran regime is already weak. The United States will back the Iranian people to finally topple the regime. Very credible threats on the heels, Molly, of the United States' successful operation to arrest Maduro in Venezuela.
Yeah, I don't know how close we are to going back to the 1970s to real freedom in Iran for the people there on the ground. But there's at least one exiled leader that would like to go there and bring this country into modern day. The exiled Saudi prince is asking the president to intervene. Take a listen.
I was just about to pull this up.
This is a quote. It says, if you have proven, and I know you are a man of peace and a man of your word, please be prepared to intervene to help the people of Iran. But I guess specifically, what is it that the U.S. could specifically do? And would they be interested in putting in one specific leader or another, or somehow allowing the Iranians to come to that organically?
Let me just say this really quick. You realize what's going on here, right? America successfully got the narco-terrorist Maduro dethroned, right? They detained him. They arrested him. He is in America now, and he's looking at some serious charges. Now, America basically runs Venezuela until the foreseeable future, which, in other words, it will never happen. Like Trump, at least during Trump's time, Trump's term, he will not relinquish all of the power to the leaders of Venezuela. He's going to have a very tight grip on Venezuela until he gets every bit of that oil, every bit of profit from that oil. I just want to make that abundantly clear. Now, allegedly, I think sometime this coming week, he's supposed to be having a meeting with Machado. Now, Maria Corina Machado is the one that won that Nobel Peace Prize. She obviously has been exiled. She has been hiding, until just now because of the Venezuelan regime, because of Maduro's regime. She's been in hiding. But here's the thing. Something happened that really benefits her. Maduro's gone. She can go and take over. Now, she is literally bribing now Trump with her Nobel Peace Prize to get access and to get control over what's going on, right? To get control over Venezuela, get her shot at running this country. And in her mind, because I'm sure in her mind, she's like, with me running the country, we can make Venezuela amazing. We could, give the money and give and make the people of Venezuela flourish instead of living in squalor, right? So she's willing to give whatever it takes, including that Nobel Peace Prize, to Trump so she can get access and control over the country. But it's all going to come with a price. Trump's not going to relinquish any control over Venezuela. Now, here's the thing. Let's go over to Iran. You have the exiled prince of Iran now making a tweet. He even did a video, which we're going to pull up here in a second. He even is sitting here going, Trump, help, please. He's exiled as well. He's not in Iran. He gone. But he's looking at the situation over in Venezuela, and he's like, wait a second. Oh, Trump is Captain Save-A-Ho. Word. All I got to do is plead. Trump, you're amazing. Stroke him off a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Suck on the teat of MAGA and see if Trump can come in and help take down the regime that's in Iran right now as we speak. And what's happening? Trump's out here like the cat that got the cream. He can't stop licking himself. He's like, I got my stuff, and was that cream good? So of course he's looking at the situation being like, damn, I am King Ding-a-ling. I am Teflon Don. I could not be messed with. I am incredible, right? So these guys are sitting here going like, hey, can you help us out? And Trump's like, I may do that because I feel it good. You know what I'm saying? Because everything I do, I win. All I do is win, no matter what. Okay, hell yeah, DJ Khaled, I could do another one. And that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to swoop in. He's going to drop bombs on it. He's going to do the Midnight Hammer 2, right? The second coming. He's going to have boots on the ground. He's going to do this operation. He's going to take down that regime. He's going to dethrone that supreme leader. And then he's going to be like, well, we'll talk. We'll have conversations. And he'll have conversations with this exiled prince. And he will be like, I will give you 20 virgins and all of my gold for this country. And Trump may be like, you had me at 20 virgins. Maybe. But I still have control. You run it, but I'm still pulling the strings. You are my puppet. That's literally what's going to happen. You understand that, right? If he decides to swoop in, after he sees enough of the protesting and things on fire, he'd be like, all right, guys. Put out that cigarette. Okay, hey, Seth, what do we got? Do we got time? Okay, it takes a couple hours to fly over there, blah, blah, blah. We already know the procedure, so what we got to do? I need troops over there. And then, okay, we need to put down a supreme leader as well. So what we got to do? Make it so. We just got to do it while they're sleeping, though. And don't let Congress know. Shh, don't say nothing. Shut your mouth. That's what's going to happen. And it'll be in the middle of the night when we least expect it. Midnight Hammer 2, the second coming. But this time, it's a full-on gangbang. Moving on.
So I think the immediate question is going to be, what is actually going to be different about these protests that enable the Iranian people to overthrow the regime? So the United States can certainly put our finger on the scale as President Trump. And then today, Secretary Rubio has thrown his support behind the Iranian people as well. What can we do? I think we can continue to make sure that there's internet access for the people, the protesters. And we can do that through Starlink, because there is an internet blackout on the part of the Iran regime so that the people cannot communicate. So we can provide that. And the United States can continue to encourage the Iranian people. And then also, Molly, this is really important. All of the armed security inside the regime has to turn on the regime. You need, and we've gotten some clues that's beginning to happen. Some IRG soldiers are not showing up to work. The Iranian...
They just called in sick? That's crazy. Soldiers are basically calling in sick. No, we ain't showing up. So enough. Is this going to be a coup of the people? Oh, my damn. This is insane.
Regime is trying to import other people from Iraq to sort of crack down on the Iranian people. The more we have, and we can encourage the Iranian people who are armed to side with the civilians against the regime is going to empower the Iranian people to take back their own government.
Now, again, this is also an opportunity for America to swoop in and work in tandem with the people and then take it over, which also can be very bad. Because isn't Iran, who are Iran's allies? Who are Iran's allies? Think about that for a second. And then think about if we were to swoop in, stick our nose in this business, we'd be in war with Iran and in the Middle East all over again. Also, let me point this out too, before we look at what the prince said, this exiled prince. Actually, let me bring this back. Let's not forget what could possibly happen. I mean, this is like, again, this is all bad. Because remember, he just said, it's been 800 years since peace in the Middle East. All that would be destroyed. I just want to remind you of that. I'm reminding you guys, okay? Just so you know. Mind you, if we get involved, and it's successful to a certain extent, it will ruffle a whole lot of feathers. And that whole thing that we just saw a couple months ago, where he's like, is an unprecedented moment. We are making peace in the Middle East. All that stuff's going to be gone. All of it. You realize that, right? All of it. Completely obliterated. All gone. President Peace?
As for a replacement regime, that's going to be really difficult. Obviously, you have the descendants of the Shah who want to take over. The question is, are they going to be able to maintain control? Because civil war and chaos is always the worst of the possible scenarios.
Yeah, it is bloody and it is very hard right there, but there is hope. Rebecca, thank you very, very much.
Yeah. Again, recipe for a possible recipe for disaster. Doesn't mean that it's going to be that way. But again, this can be very, very bad. Okay. Look, this is from, the exiled prince. And of course, there's translation underneath. So we're going to take a look at this. Oh, this is just crazy. So much going on, guys. So much going on. Take a look.
بهترین پیامی که داریم به خامنه‌ای میدیم این هستش که این آخرین فرصته. میتونی پاشی بری بغل دست بشار تو مسکو بشینی. ول کنی مملکت رو. بذار مردم ایران به حکومت خودشون برگردن. دست از سر این مردم بردارید. چقدر میخواین قتل بکنید؟ چقدر میخواین مملکت ما رو بچاپین؟ بس دیگه. مردم کلافه هستن و به همین دلیل تو خیابان‌ها میان. به همین دلیله که انتظار دارن از نیروهایی که نظام میخواد به عنوان سرکوب استفاده کنه. یادشون نره اینا برادران و خواهران خودشونن تو خیابون. به خاطر چی؟ به خاطر یه کیسه برنج و روغن میخواین بدنام بشید، در مقابل تاریخ پاسخگو نباشید. این الان فرصتی است که به مردم بپیوندید و این پیام رو فکر کنم کاملا رژیم فهمیده. باز میگم تمام این عکس‌العمل نظام از روی ترسه. نه برنامه‌ای دارن، نه استراتژی دارن. شدیداً دچار التهاب شدن و این نشون دهنده قدرت مردم هست. هیچ چیزی جلودار از قدرت هیچ ملتی در تاریخ ثابت شده نیست و امروز مردم ایران دارن حماسه آفرینی میکنن.
So basically he's saying in a nutshell, yo, Supreme Leader, step the F down. Back away. Relinquish control over this country. Be done with it. And you know Trump's all about it. But like I said, I don't think second time around is going to be as easy as he believes. In my personal opinion, I just don't think it's going to be just this easy situation of putting out putting out this information, like going in there and doing what he needs to do. Him, let's just say stretching, flexing his muscles. I don't think it's going to be easier or as easy as the first time. And I think he's going to go in there with a whole lot more force than just a few planes flying in the air. I think he's going to have to put boots on the ground and do what needs to be done in a stealth-like way, like what he did in Venezuela, right? But again, like I said, sticking our nose in other people's business, I feel like, is a recipe for some serious disaster. That's just what I feel, okay? But let me get some of these super chats here. Real quick, okay? Buddha, thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the super chat. In the 60s, they had sit-ins and would lay down peacefully. I don't see any organization, just individuals. We need to learn from this horrible loss of life. Yeah, I agree. It's more chaos. There are organizations, but there isn't anything organized, which I agree, right? Unfortunately, we don't have that. Yes, they do sit-ins, but they're doing sit-ins in the middle of freeways, cutting off serious, like, major arteries of cities to get their voices heard. Again, I just don't see how that works, but that's what they do, right? That's what most of these protesters end up doing. Parky Posey, thank you so much for love. Did you cover the Philly police comment? Yes, she was a badass, or she was so badass. Yeah, I already covered it last night or yesterday's show, where she basically said, like, I got time. You don't want this smoke, which was pretty amazing. Michelle, thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much. Just when I thought Bannon couldn't get any more annoying, the stuttering makes it worse. Kevin. Yeah, it's annoying. It's hella annoying. Thank you so much for the love. One Acady, Public Law 119-21, Homeland Security and Immigration Enforcement sections under Title 6 and related appropriations requires members of Congress to provide prior notice of their intent to enter. So that is very interesting. I didn't know that. Now, here's the thing, though. If that is the case, then I'm hoping that the likes of Ilhan Omar and Angie Craig and Morrison, I forgot her first name, Kelly Morrison, I think is her first name. But anyway, I hope that they go back with papers then. They go, they leave, they come back, get papers and say, okay, here are the papers. Show us the whole facility. We want to see for ourselves exactly how these people are living. But it's going to be too late. So all the things that they were hoping to see in that impromptu, unannounced visitation is now going to get covered up. Now you're going to see everybody with brand new toothbrushes and tubes of Colgate in there, right? They're going to have tubes, finally have some body wash and access to some sort of shower, right? So again, it'll be too late by then because they'll already cross their T's and dot their lowercase J's. Moving on, Michelle, thank you so much for the love again. It's weird as I'm watching this and that old Michael Jackson song is playing in my head. Wow. They don't really care about us. Seems very fitting here. Yeah, it's all bad. Let me get Michelle again. What's really crazy is the ICE shooter was identified and his wife is an immigrant from the Philippines. Yep, she is a Filipina. That is absolutely true, which is crazy, right? Jaslyn, thank you so much for the love. They don't care about her. They just hate ICE. The same people celebrated Charlie would be celebrating her if she took him out with the car. Yeah, I could see that too. I could definitely see that. That's the sad part about how quickly this pendulum swings back and forth, right? Yes, if the situation was different and she did run him over and he lost his life, yes, there would be people out here celebrating that. I wouldn't. It's still a tragedy. It's still sad. And that situation, if that was the situation, that should not have happened. A situation like that, just like him pulling the trigger, should not happen. Period. It shouldn't. But unfortunately, that is what it is. That is what happened. You'd hope that over time we would be a little bit better than this, right? Amalie, thank you so much for the love. Appreciate it. So he said He said doesn't want China/Russia as neighbors. USA doesn't touch Greenland. It is Canada. Okay. What does that tell you? Well, USA doesn't touch Greenland. It's us, Canada. What does that tell you? I don't know what that tells me. I mean, if it was to be a situation where Canada took it over, that would be very interesting too. And that would not be good, right? Then that would be a problem with our neighbors that live right above us, which would be interesting. A full-on toe-to-toe with, you know what I mean? With a whole toe-to-toe with Canada. That'd be very strange. Unless I'm seeing in the comments, somebody said, oh, okay. So like he wants Canada and Greenland. C Christina, thank you so much for that. That would be interesting. So again, like and Neon Druid just said, Trump has mentioned taking over Canada. Now, if he wanted to, can't see what I'm saying? Like he wants the entire globe to have basically be the American flag. If that's the case, then he wants every single country throughout the entire world to just have the American flag on it. The entire globe would just be America. So then nobody would be deported. Nobody would be just suddenly picked up and thrown into some sort of detention facility, aka detention camp, right? So it would be insane if he was like, we're taking Canada, we're taking Greenland, we're taking Mexico, but that's what he's got on his mind. He wants to take everything. Like I said before, I feel that we are looking at a very slow death of democracy, and we are quickly seeing a rise of imperialism. We are seeing a lot of imperialistic moves coming from Trump right now. He's already telling us that the powers that be that are underneath him, that are supposed to be there to stop him, sanction him from doing certain things, or vote to block him from doing anything tyrannical or anything that could, be devastating, that they are not okay with, or anything of that sort. All of that, he just said, is obsolete. He is going beyond the red tape. He is ignoring the procedures that are constitutionally implemented for our country and how we run this government. He is overlooking all of that and he's saying the peace sign to it. In fact, it's not even the peace sign. He's flipping the bird at all of this and saying, I'm going to do me. And what I'm looking at is Greenland. I'm looking at Cuba. I'm looking at Mexico too now. Oh, shoot. And if Iran wants to hand over the keys to Iran, bet I'll take that too, baby. That's exactly what we're seeing right now. And Iran is a perfect opportunity for him to strike. It is. There's a lot of upheaval going on. The people of Iran are begging for him to come in and save the day. Real talk. They want him to come in and save the day. So I feel like he's seeing this as a perfect opportunity to swoop in and take that country too, because now he's got the people behind him as well. That's an easy way. It's an easy way to take a regime down when you have the people behind you rooting for you to do that. So get ready. He might be like, oh, in fact, we will do Mexico. It just may not be right now. Okay, we're going to focus on Iran. And if he does do that, that is going to make some other countries very mad. The likes of Russia and others. He keeps on doing this. Like I said, it's like he is going straight up full mask off. All right. He has gone straight up mask off. And now the world is crashing out. That's literally what we're seeing right now. The absolute entire globe is crashing out. And we all need to keep our eyes on all of this at the same time. The stuff that's going on domestically and the stuff that's going on throughout the world. Because you never know what his next move is going to be. That's what's so terrifying about this. And of course, interesting, but it's terrifying, more terrifying than interesting. Because at the end of the day, what will transpire after the next strike? What will transpire after the next takeover of a country and the demolishing of a regime? He's playing with fire, guys. In fact, he's more like he's playing with a nuke. I'm sorry to say it, but he is. Lola, thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the super chat. I think he wants to take America as a whole, basically the whole continent, from Argentina all the way to Canada, Greenland, just as well. Why not? I feel like that's what's happening. Now that you mentioned, like now that that other super chat where they're like, hey, you know, he's looking at all this. And, you know, but that would be him taking over. Yeah, it'd be him taking it over it all. This whole Western hemisphere would just be America. That'd be insane. Like I said, imperialistic ideals and imperialistic moves are happening right now in real time. But we're going to keep an eye on all this. We're going to keep an eye on all this. Okay, trust and believe. There's just a lot going on. So much going on. But that is the show, guys. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in, being a part of the conversation. There's a lot to talk about. There is so much going on. Okay, so much going on internationally, domestically. We're gonna keep an eye on all of it. There's a lot of true crime cases going on at the same time, too, which we still need to talk about as well. But get ready. We will be talking about that at some point when we get some time. In the meantime, though, before we end the show, hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. Hit that subscription over on my Twitch. Okay, follow these other platforms. I'm on TikTok. I'm back on TikTok, the Pascal Show 1. So go and follow that as well. Hit that subscribe button here on my main channel right here on YouTube. Go to my second channel, the Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. Subscribe there. Hit the notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Because honestly, it's a lot of breaking news and it's random for now. Okay, so please make sure you do that. Hit that notification bell. Make sure you do it. All right, hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. All right. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Stay safe out there. And if you are going to protest peacefully, please and thank you. Hey, life is a lot better with you in it than you not in it. Okay? Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.